Welcome back to Make Me Watch Movies. The movie you're making me watch today is The Great Outdoors, not directed but written by the great John Hughes. And we have a special guest with us today, Haig. How are you, Haig?
Wonderful, gentlemen. Thank you very much for having me. I'm a longtime fan, and I'm just happy to be here.
This is Haig's choice.
Thank you.
Haig chose this film.
Good to see you, Haig.
It was great to see you guys. Yeah, it was either Sophie's Choice or this movie. No, I'm kidding.
It was a real Sophie's Choice.
It was the Sophie's Choice.
Haig's an old friend, former roommate of Schwartzy.
Very true.
Longtime
Way
movie
back.
watcher.
All the time.
And
I'm just thinking, my first movie experience ever. My mom took us to go see Return of the Jedi in the theater. That was probably 4 at the time. Yeah, I remember going into the car. I don't remember anything else. You can't remember that far back. But I know that she was like, "We took you there years later," and that was it. That's all I remember. But
That's
yeah,
cool. My first theater movie was The Addams Family. My mom took me to see that.
Oh, nice.
Jake, what's your first theater movie?
Yeah, I can't remember. I remember like some of like the standout first R movies I saw, but I don't remember my first movie.
Freddy vs.
I
Jason.
feel like
How about
my
the
first-
first movie you went to without a parent? How about that? Can you figure that out? Mine was Clueless. I went with my cousin. It was fucking Clueless. We
That
sat in
might
the
have
front
been
row
Freddy
like
versus
idiots.
Jason for me.
That I don't even remember that either.
Uh,
I almost want to say like Titanic for some reason.
nice.
Well, I remember
You love T2 so much.
getting on that or standing in that line. No, I remember Freddy vs. Jason as that because my dad bought us tickets, and there were 3 of us in line, 2 kids and him, and he bought 2 tickets, and the lady was like, "Are you going in this movie?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "But you aren't buying a ticket?" And he's like, "Nah, I already got one." She's like, "Okay, but if we find these kids in that movie, we're gonna kick them out." And he's like, "All right," and we got in, and it was fine. We actually went
Nice.
into the wrong one and saw the ending, and then we had to go sneak into the other one and watch the whole movie.
Damn.
We were
You saw who won the movie.
we were that we did
That
if
sucks.
you've seen that movie, nobody really I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, spoiler alert on Freddy FVJ, but it's a good one. There could be
Who
a
wins?
sequel is all
No,
I'm
don't
saying.
tell me. Don't tell me. I'll watch it again.
Kelly Rowland's in that movie. That's all you gotta know.
It's great, and she has a great death too. She has a great
She
death.
does.
But that's not the movie we were watching today. The movie we watch today is The Great Outdoors.
Who's
And
got a haiku?
why'd you? Oh yeah. Let's get the haikus. Haig, I heard
Oh,
you had a
it
haiku.
is true to recognize that.
Let's do a haiku. Here we go. All right. It's 575, right? The pentameter? Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
pentameter,
Yeah,
biggest
yeah,
word ever
pentameter.
used on this podcast.
I made it. I don't
It's
even
almost
know
a
if that's
full haiku line, that word.
That's true. Pentameter. Yeah, almost. All right, here we go. I've been to Duluth. Dan Aykroyd and John Candy. Big bear chase me.
Nice.
All right. I love it. I love it.
I've been to Duluth. That's a good reference to the shirt. I like that.
Oh yeah. Well, there you
Yeah.
go. I mean,
Yeah.
there you go, right here. I've been to
Oh,
Duluth.
fuck
yeah.
I had to wear it today.
I even wore a little,
Oh, the raccoon.
re-
Yes.
reference to the movie on myself.
Nice.
The raccoon shirt.
Nice.
My favorite part.
I'm over here sitting here like an idiot in a Jersey Shore hat.
You do look terrible.
Cool shirt.
Who's got the next coup?
Go ahead, Jake.
John Candy was coup, but this movie was do. Sorry, I say boo.
Damn, Jake hates this movie.
Off the bat too. We're not.
There
gonna,
was,
we're not
you
gonna
know,
act
Off the
like
bat
it-
too.
That's just speaking from my heart. There's good about this movie, but overall it was not very good. But there's good in there. I do like some of it.
I mean, you got to
Fair
think
enough,
about what
fair
this
enough.
was like when you
Dude's
should have
never been to
it, you know?
Duluth.
Well, I'm not because I just saw it now. I don't remember. I feel like I saw it when I was a kid, but I don't remember it at all. So I feel like I
Schwartz,
saw
you want me to go or you going?
I'll go. Candy's charm shines bright. Aykroyd's wit sharp as the pines. John Hughes' words take flight.
Nice.
All right. We also
Very
like to,
nice.
though a haiku is not a rhyming poem. We at Making Me Watch Movies decided it's better that way, so we try to make them rhyme.
We like it better.
We try. We try.
Here's
Yeah.
my haiku for The
Yes.
Great Outdoors. Chet just wants to chill. Roman schemes give him a thrill. The bear wins, though. Always will.
Nice.
Nice.
Nice. That rhymed nicely.
Yeah. Jake, I missed it. When's the first time you ever watched this movie?
I don't remember. I feel like this is probably something that was like I saw, but like it maybe was like in the background or just in passing, probably like parts of it on TV. I don't ever remember seeing this from start to finish until a couple days ago.
Oh.
But
Oh, wow.
I feel like there was I remember the the water ski scene for some reason. Like I remember like probably
For some
seeing
reason, might be
that,
the best
you
scene.
know, like the movie
Sure.
that would have been on TNT or TBS, like
100%.
as
Oh
we
yeah.
were younger. So I'm like, I probably saw bits and pieces then, but I don't ever think
This
like I
wasn't
watched
one
it
that
with my
your family
family.
put on just to have
Unfortunately,
all,
not surprisingly enough, no. Like
Yeah.
this, because this reminded me of like my family and like growing up because I'm from Michigan, so we would go to like it's very similar to Wisconsin. It's like northern Michigan's very full of lakes and trees and shit. So it kind of had like a vibe of like my childhood. So I liked that for sure about it. There was a good nostalgia factor, even though this wasn't like a nostalgic movie for me necessarily, but the vibe and what it represented was.
But you
That's
still
cool.
hated it.
I didn't hate it. I never said I hated it. I
You
just
said
thought
did
it
you
wasn't.
do?
I thought it was to do.
What does that mean you hated it?
It wasn't. It's
Was it-
not a very well crafted film.
And I
Yeah,
thought
I'll
about
say
that
yeah,
sometimes
that.
while watching it, even though I was like, man, there's a lot of pedigree in this movie because the director also directed a bunch of other really funny comedies and directed a couple other John Hughes written movies.
Yeah.
And I was
which
like,
is probably
I wonder
the things
why
that you
this
felt
one
that you
is...
liked in the movie.
Yeah, and I thought about that sometimes, but I also thought about like the way that sometimes the blocking was and the actors would react to things, and it was very it's a children's movie, it's a kids movie.
Yeah.
Haig,
A
when's
lot of
you,
it was a kids movie.
you said you saw
But
this at
not
8 years
not
old.
always in the humor.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
there
saw
was
this
adult humor.
when it first came out in the theater. Yeah,
So that was 88, right?
it was 88, yeah. And we had gone, I think Willow was on. Well, Willow we went and saw in the theater, maybe
Willow.
around that same time. So I mean, I don't know, 88 was just chock full of like you name it, dude. Like the highest grossing movie that year was Rain Man, and the second one was Roger Rabbit, and then you had Coming to America, and
Was it
you
Die
name
Hard
it. And, like
88?
Die Hard was 88, Naked Gun, Twins, Big, all it was crazy. And Beetlejuice. And then
Damn, that's a good fucking year.
Yeah,
Holy
for
shit.
sure.
the Land
Holy
Before
shit.
Time, and Willow and Scrooge. Yeah.
So this
then there
got
was-
buried, huh? This got buried under there.
This was like the 22nd highest grossing movie of the year, something like
Yeah.
that. But
Of
it got buried.
30.
Yeah. Of 30. Yeah.
Yeah, but all
But,
those movies you just said were epic fucking movies.
Yeah. That was a big year. It was a big year. So this kind of got lost, but it was, I mean, I think Aykroyd was peaking. I think
I like Dan Aykroyd in this movie.
I think Candy was in his prime. And with the two of them with a Hughes script, I mean, you really can't. You kind of just let them loose, and that was
Which
it.
is basically
Yeah.
what this was. It was
Yeah.
because if
Yeah.
it was two
Yeah.
yokels in that role, then it wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been. John Hughes could have wrote. I mean, I'm going to say that, but John Hughes would have never put two idiots in the role, or he would never allowed it, I guess. But anyway,
Yeah.
if it was two
Yeah.
nobodies in that role, this movie would have been. Nobody would have watched it. It would have bombed harder than it
Yeah.
bombed
No
in
one
real
would,
life.
Yeah, John
Yeah.
Candy was really I think the shine
John
of
Candy
this movie. Like,
rules.
Yeah,
I think Schwartz's haiku first line summed it very nicely.
Yeah.
There was his charm was just like
Yeah.
oozing in this movie, and like
yes,
how could you not love that character? How could you not love that guy? He loved his family. He was just so fun and just enjoyable dude.
John Candy's the
And,
best
you know,
dad.
and Aykroyd was good too for like the part he had, like the villain, like the dick, he did for what it was. Like he didn't like the character, but like he did a good
He was
job
a slime
being the
ball.
asshole.
Yeah,
He
he
was a
was a
slime
used
ball.
car salesman. I
This
loved him.
movie
Yeah,
made me
for sure.
realize, or made me rethink if I even like Dan Aykroyd.
Really?
And I think that makes
Yeah.
him a good heel. He did a great job as
Yes.
being a bad guy because you're like, do I hate him now?
Sure.
Because he's
Sure.
such a dick.
I
Is
mean,
that it?
yes, and I thought that too, but
Right.
then I like kind of just went back and looked at his work, and he's not great. He's not like
He's
the
made
funniest
some pretty
guy.
classic films. Though.
He was
He's made
in
pretty
some
classic
movies
films.
with some hilarious people, written by some really.
He
funny
wrote a
people.
lot of them too, though. He wrote a lot of them. He wrote Ghostbusters. He wrote Blues Brothers.
It was
he wrote
like
Coneheads.
based off of his ideas, and
No,
Coneheads
he
is one
wrote
of the
the
dumbest things in the
scripts.
He
world.
wrote
But
those.
He wrote the scripts with him and Harold Ramis on all those movies.
Harold
Or him and John Belushi.
Ramis, yes,
yeah.
They're
a
hilarious.
very funny writer, yes.
Yeah.
But I
feel
think
like,
his acting
yeah.
kind of proves that he's not very funny, Dan Aykroyd. That's
I think
just what
Coneheads
say.
is hilarious, and I think Ghostbusters is great. But Dan Aykroyd's not, like you said before, he's not the best part of Ghostbusters.
Is great, and
Yeah.
he's the worst.
He's not the
part
best
of
part of that.
Yeah,
I don't think he's the worst, but
I'd
He's
rather
like
see
that
Slimer in
old-
a room.
Slimer's amazing though.
Yeah. Do you know what Slimer's original name was before it was
Schwartz.
Slimer?
I knew he's based off of Belushi.
His name was Onion Head because
Nice.
like I think the slime smelled like onions. So all the crew kept calling him Onion Head the whole.
Oh, that's cool.
Hmm. What's your guys' opinion on Muncher from the new era of Ghostbusters?
I haven't seen the movies yet.
I haven't seen it
It's
either.
I haven't
it's just
seen
a
them.
bad play on
Schwartz,
Slimer?
you've definitely seen it. We've talked about it. But,
Muncher?
yeah,
No, I have not
he's
seen
like
the movie.
he's like the slime. Okay, whatever. He's like a big Slimer ripoff that is pretty hilarious. I loved him. I thought he was great.
Okay. I haven't seen either of the new ones yet.
I didn't
Yeah.
care
Either.
for them.
They're pretty good.
Nah,
They're pretty good.
But, whatever.
What didn't you like about? I mean, the newest one was whatever. They're just really reaching. But the first new one, the first one with like
that was okay.
Afterlife?
That was okay.
is it Afterlife? Yeah,
Yeah.
It
This
just
guy.
felt very like
the one where they got
nostalgia grab.
Reitman,
I just
the Reitman
there
ghost
wasn't
in there,
yeah there
which I
wasn't
thought was
really-
amazing.
I just want the original cast. I know they like popped in or whatever, but I don't care about.
They
these-
should just
these
stop
new
making those
kids.
movies. There's no reason to keep making those
I don't
fucking
give a
films.
shit about the kids from Stranger Things. Like I don't fucking care about these kids.
Well, yeah, where the
Blood's
direction is
fine.
going is not made for a 40-year-old man. That's for sure. It's definitely
That's-
trying to
yeah.
pass the torch on. But I thought
that might be a
that,
good point.
they did it well, especially the first one because they did have everybody in it, including Reitman. But they didn't. They did it justice because they didn't just have a fucking terrible CG in there talking to people. They just did it well. If you haven't seen it, then you got to see it to understand what I'm talking about. He didn't talk, which I think is the best part of having.
Well, that
CG
wasn't Reitman,
character.
right? It was the other guy. It was Harold Ramis, I thought.
Who died? Yeah,
Harold Ramis. They're both dead. But
Ramis.
Ramis was in the movie.
Ramis
yeah.
was in
Reitman
in this-
directed the
Ramis,
movie.
sorry,
Directed.
Reitman. Yeah, and Jason Reitman wrote and directed these ones.
Yeah.
I think he did the second one. Did you do the first one too?
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that. Huh.
Little
That's
torch,
crazy.
Torch pass from Daddy.
I
It's
did not know that.
I think the cast only wanted to do it because it was his kid, like the
Okay,
original
that
cast.
makes sense. That makes more sense.
and
He
Dan's
did some
funny in
pretty
that.
good movies too.
And Dan Aykroyd's
Yeah.
in all of them. Jake, he's in even the newest one. So bad argument.
I
just want the old people back.
I just don't like it. Okay, it's not for me. I think that was probably the best point. It's not for a 40-year-old dude.
You know what it's like,
I
and I know
shouldn't
we're
enjoy
getting
it.
way
That's
off
all.
subject here, but it's like the new Tremors, to where you're like, the CG is ripe for what those movies could have been, and for like the newest Tremors movies, they're not just like sock puppets coming out of the ground. They're giant shrieking monsters flying out of the ground like breaching great white sharks and landing on people.
Oh,
and
you see the back of
yeah.
it?
Oh, yeah.
What's the end of it
They
look
come
like?
out. They come out and they smash people, and that's what the new Ghostbusters has. That and that said, the original Ghostbusters was like a benchmark of amazing CG, but
Yeah.
they do it. They just do it right. I think they do it justice. Anyway,
Yeah, I just don't think I needed to see it because I didn't really want to ruin
Schwartz,
the
I'm
older ones,
99%
you know what I mean?
sure you at
I
least
feel like
saw
with
the first
remake-
one because we've talked about it.
I'm telling you, I have not seen the first one. I did not
We
see them.
did
I
a
don't really watch too
podcast
many
on it.
remakes.
Pretty sure we did a podcast on it.
We did
You
not.
talked about it for an hour and a half.
I lost my
hell
virginity
outta
to your
here.
daughter. What? Rob, you were there. Tommy Boy? No? Anyone?
Yeah, no, I remember. Did Dan Aykroyd?
Another guy.
Dan Aykroyd never really headlined a movie again.
Isn't there
Yeah, that
there
he
a
always just
weird
did.
theory out there that the character in or is it Tommy Boy or the other one that
He
this
left-
is
yeah.
Roman's character later in life?
I didn't know that.
Zelensky?
Yeah.
That's
I
interesting.
Like how they because they
Another
had to
thing we talked about
move in
yesterday
with
that
the
you forgot,
family.
Schwartz.
Yeah, they had a
You
movie.
did not
'cause-
talk
'cause-
about that with me
'cause-
yesterday.
Interesting.
No, Anthony told us about it.
I did, yeah.
It's okay. It's
I don't
okay.
remember that.
Yeah, like how like since they had to move in with the other family at the end, like his wife leaves him and like family leaves him because they're like, obviously like the Annette Bening character wants to be wealthy, and so they leave him. He goes crazy, moves to the big city, starts scamming people, becomes a used car salesman, and then he becomes the
So
That's hilarious.
Great guy.
That's
Yeah.
a great
car
theory.
parts king of Chicago.
right.
That's cool.
That's hilarious. I could see that. Yeah, that was Annette Bening's first movie, by the way.
She's so hot in that movie.
She's great.
Lost in
yeah.
New York.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you talking about?
I'd expect her in this either, and I
Yeah.
was the first thing I'm like, is that a bet?
Annette
I didn't know
Bening.
the
She was hilarious.
She's great.
Her
Yeah.
laugh.
Yeah.
Her laugh.
Her
Every
laugh.
time her husband like gave anybody shit. That fucking laugh had me.
Robin, knock it off. Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
got her though, because at first she's like, "Why are we here? We're just barging in on these people," and then for the rest of the movie, she's just a full blown scumbag.
True.
And then
And
in
also
the end,
that could have been happened on the ride there before they left, before, so many times. Like, but we
What,
weren't.
telling her what's up, you mean?
No, the whole, but we weren't invited. Why are we
Oh,
going?
wow.
Like that, of course that conversation would probably,
Sure.
whatever.
well, then how would we know?
How would we
what's
know?
going on?
Exactly. It's for
Right.
the sake of the movie.
It'd be a lot to infer.
We weren't in the car before that. We were in the car now.
Flashback to Chicago, them having a conversation while packing. No, that wouldn't be good.
You don't got
Right.
flashback money in '80s.
That would be a strange cut.
All right, so should we start going through it?
Yeah.
Who's gonna do it? Haig, do you want to do it? We usually do like whoever picks the movie, like kind of talks through it, and we talk about it as we talk through like the plot. You want to do it?
Yeah, sure.
All right,
right.
go for it.
How's this shit open up?
Yeah, how it happens.
Oh, so okay. Well, it's kind of typical family road trip 80s movie where like a family of four is in the car and they're driving to their destination and they're singing a song. This happens in like what the Griswolds are doing this. So maybe this is a John Hughes thing. So they're all in the
Shining.
They're in the Shining. They're all singing all the way to the
80s
hotel.
family vacation trope, for sure.
Exactly.
For
It's a
sure.
classic. Yeah.
But this is fun. It's yakety yak. Don't come back. It's fun. Like right away,
It's fun.
you see
Yeah.
the dynamic of the family. Like they're very that family those four they get along very well. Very like tight, happy.
Yeah,
family
totally.
Right there.
Yeah, totally.
I
And they're
can't
showing
not think of twins.
the
when
great
I hear
outdoors.
Yakety yak.
Well, that's funny
Don't
because
come
that movie came out the same year this one did, and that song happens in both movies.
Great.
And there's another instance where in Beetlejuice, do you remember when Michael Keaton's in Beetlejuice was like tempting a fly with a candy bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come here, you want a little bite, and then and that was the Zagnut bar, and that's the same candy bar that John Candy throws at the bears at the bear dump in this movie.
Nice.
They
That's
both
good.
come out the same year. And I don't know, I've never seen the Zagnut bar before anywhere else before or after these movies, but
That's cool.
it's kind of strange. But
Never heard of a Zagnut.
yeah, I've never even seen one in real life.
Canadian
I remember the
pig, I
shot though
bet.
of his his
Yeah.
arm sticking out of the ground. Going, hey, come over here. You want this? That's what I remember.
Whoa, a little bite.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys they're driving around to they're going to their they're going to the camp. And it's funny because it's like the credits are rolling and the great outdoors you see, and then they show like the great outdoors, like all these animals that are hanging out in the woods, and then they get to they're driving a classic Grand Wagoneer, wood paneling on the side. You can't beat it. It's got like 4 miles a gallon, and and then they pull up, and comedy ensues right off the bat. They get trapped by the trees, and then it's
Dude, I laughed really hard when he said, "Oh, they put trees in the parking lot." I literally laughed out loud when he said that. It was dumb, but I embraced every moment of it. It was so stupid.
there were a lot of those moments of like
Yeah.
those like subtle little humorous like humor moments that Candy was just able to just
Yeah, I
turn
agree.
turn up a little bit. They get in, and next thing you know, that dog with the porcupine. Robert Prosky shows up. I mean, remember Robert Prosky? He plays Wally, the guy with the shirt and all that. It's his
Yeah.
joint.
Yeah.
He's been in everything. He's been
The
in.
only thing I
yeah.
remember him from is Mrs. Doubtfire. He's
Mrs. Doubtfire,
Mr.
yeah.
Lundy and Mrs. Doubtfire.
He was in Rudy. He was the priest in Rudy.
Yeah, he was.
He was in a movie called Thief with James Caan. If you ever seen that,
Yeah, he
That's a-
was
that's
in
a
that
dope
way
movie.
younger though.
Yeah.
Way
Yeah.
younger. Yeah.
Really
He's-
good.
He's like villainous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was good in that.
Yeah.
he was in.
I've
was
seen him in a bunch of shit on
Good
34.
character actor for sure. Yeah.
One
Yeah.
of the what he says in that moment too. He says, "The dog's in heat. Too bad you're not a dog."
I think it's.
I laughed at that too.
That was fun. I think it's important to point out how they cued him or how they got his attention was
Oh, yeah.
for
Oh,
prompt
yeah.
service blow me, and he had like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
horn, this little goofy horn hanging on a hook at
That's
the front
right.
desk, and then like it just cued the dog.
Oh,
to
did
jump
we
up
find
and, like,
something
almost
Jake
attack
liked
him.
about this movie? Did you laugh when you saw that?
This was funny. Yeah, this was funny.
Okay.
I liked
Look
a
at
lot of.
mark
This
it,
was a
mark
funny
it.
movie. It just got. I don't know. It just got to the point of like, okay, another bit, another bit. It was just like one
they were
after
good.
the other. After some of them were it kind of got a little tiresome.
That
like
is
me,
what
but
this movie
I
was.
did like.
was.
I
It
did
was-
like
it
this.
was-
It
this
was
opening
bit.
was. This
It
was
would
a great
fade
opening.
out, fade back into a bit, fade out,
Yeah.
fade back into a bit. Then they're on the water. Then they're on. Like we weren't kids when we saw this. Like Schwartz just said, you really had to embrace what it was in order
And
to
when it was.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
And the first time I watched it, I didn't. I was with Jake. I was just like, this is. I wish I saw this sooner because it's trash. But I have been watching it on repeat for the last 3 days, trying to instill nostalgia on myself. And I think it kind of worked, you know. I do not hate it as much as I did, because at first I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna trash this movie," like rightly so. And you could not disagree with like anything that
Sure, I agree.
that Jake is saying,
Sure.
or that
Yeah.
many people say, even when it came out. But yeah, I think it's you just gotta really
It's fun.
You
It's just
gotta
fun.
really just, what did you just say? You gotta just really embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard
I mean,
a quick I was watching a review on this and they like just cut to a clip of Robert Ebert talking about this movie. He's like,
Oh, yeah.
it's lame. It's not funny. It's slow and it's not good. Like, that was like the line. I'm like, damn,
yeah.
all right. I don't think I'm gonna lean into it that hard.
It was
but like,
bad.
yeah,
Well, I watched that whole the whole 3 minutes that they talk, and the 2.5 minutes before that, the other dude is trashing it just as hard. I mean, not quite as mean, but yeah, then he just goes, "It was lame. It sucked. They weren't funny."
lame, slow, not funny. Like those were like, I'm like, okay.
2 thumbs up. Go see it. Yeah.
I didn't
I
I
mean, it
interview
was-
maybe got the thumbs. I don't
It
know.
was a solid
definitely not.
hour 20 minutes. I mean, it was
Yeah,
was
if that.
it was long enough to be what it needed to be.
I think
I read they
Claxton's
shot it in
solid
like
90.
I read they shot it in like 28 days, and then they went to make Planes, Trains, and Automobiles like straight from there because John Hughes
Well,
directed.
That's why
too.
John Hughes wasn't
Yeah.
on set for this, because he was doing
Exactly.
that, which is
Rough on
also maybe why this one isn't that good. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he had kind of
Yeah.
the similar storylines, and then unfortunately he was like, "Well, I'm gonna go direct this one. I'm also gonna put all the good parts in this one." And
I think a lot changed in pre-production or even in production too. Like I think there was like the thing with the bear at the end. That was going to be like a whole thing with like they were going to be pulled around the lake by like a giant fish,
bear.
like to like mimic. No, the two daughters, the two twins, were going to be like pulled around the lake by like a giant fish, sort of like a Jaws spoof. They were going to do that, but it was like ended up being like
Love that.
production nightmare. So they changed it to the bear, and then they had to like write in and add all the other bear parts to like lead up to that kind of.
Interesting.
Never heard that. That's cool.
I thought the bear part was pretty funny. The fact, I mean, you knew the bald bear was coming back.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course.
I like
The
when
bear-
that part
the bear
starts.
dump is weird,
When
yeah.
Dan Aykroyd he turns around, and he's at the fireplace, like, there he is. Where you been? Like, he's out there trying to save your daughter's life, and you're just in here eating fucking
the end.
sandwiches.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, where you been there?
Yeah.
The
Well,
big guy?
they
He
yeah.
looked famished. I don't know. I know you guys are hating on Dan Aykroyd, but I thought he pulled that shit off well. I mean, he was
I
supposed
thought
to be
he
the
was good.
douchebag. I thought he did it well.
Yeah.
I
think
love
I'm
his
the only one
hairline.
hating on
His
him. I think
hairline's
he's trash.
hilarious. He looks like a Simpsons character.
Well, his
I
hair,
think-
That's a good description.
his hair, like the whole movie is super slick back, and it's like super
It's
like,
funny.
and he's got that thing. But then as soon as he has that, like, all right, like I'm gonna come clean with everything, and he goes back, you notice his hair changes
No
to
gel.
like a normal
I
guy.
didn't notice that.
It's like
That's
if you ever
funny.
notice, he's like, oh, this guy's like a normal guy now, and his hair's
like
down.
at the end?
he's letting all
He's not a
himself
slick
down.
back asshole anymore. He's
At the
just a
end,
normal
yeah.
guy.
Yeah, remember when he comes back and he's got, I got my fake
Yeah,
Rolex,
yeah.
and I I
Give him
see
money,
his
bro.
hair's not slicked back.
That's funny. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. Fuck. All right,
Man, that's
so
deep-
sorry. We
deepest part
often
of the
do
movie,
this, and
probably.
we
I
talk
love
about
this.
the first scene, and then we just jump around a lot. and get
Yeah.
completely off topic.
I
And
love
then
it.
We try to get back on that, first train car, and guide us through a little more. So yeah,
Well, yeah, Prosky's, he's throwing out. Well, he's just he's firing on all cylinders right there. I think he's on the hood of the car on the way over to the cabin.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
Oh, he's the
And
best. I
And
agree.
he's just like, he's so good at this.
He's the best character in the movie.
He's my favorite character. Yeah, and
The shotgun, the shotgun lamp. Not only just the plugging it in before the end. We're back at the end, but it made me laugh so hard when he plugged it in. I was just like, "What the fuck is going on?" Of course, you got to plug it in for it to work. It's a
yeah,
lamp.
of course. Yeah.
And their whole spiel of them approaching the house too. They're like, "Oh, we put $300 into this place and blah blah blah." But we just, there was just a bunch of fishermen in there, so it might not be totally cleaned out. But we did spray it with a bunch of Lysol stuff like that. And then,
But yeah, he goes. We put $300 in that place, and she goes,
Yeah.
"That not including the Lysol."
He's like, and then Kenny, they cut to Kenny. He's like, "Oh, is that right? Is that?" He's got like that little aside, those little funny asides.
the
at
little
the
the
end.
little side that he has like that little muttering about like, well, the well water might give you the shits, but and then
Yeah.
he's like saying that as he's walking away, and Kenny's like, "Wait, what was that?
Wait, what did
What
he
was
say?
that? What did he say?
How about John Candy's wardrobe? It's pretty impressive. Every time he had one of those sweaters on, I
This
was
is
like,
pretty
damn, that's
good.
pretty dope.
Yeah.
Classic sweater. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
good
sweater
sweaters.
with the button down underneath.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it was the late '80s.
the pocket, the outdoorsy.
So
Yes.
much
Should I?
fabric.
I should put mine on.
Every time he walks through a door and I just see how much of the door space he takes up, I think this guy is
Big guy.
This guy is
Big
big for
guy.
his shirts for sure.
You know what's funny? They
Yeah.
didn't lean on like fat jokes though. Like they didn't need that with John Candy.
In the old
Like,
96er.
it wasn't really.
Yeah.
I mean even that wasn't like a fat joke necessarily. Like it was like it was
Okay.
it was a big guy joke, but it wasn't like necessarily
yeah,
that. They
I
didn't
feel
like
like
lean on him being like tubby or anything
that
like
more
that.
that more was like
That's
him
like-
being an a-hole for making him do it than he's
Sure,
a
sure,
fatty
sure.
in eating it.
Yeah, he's got to pressure him to. Yeah, because there wasn't like even like the water skiing. Like there wasn't didn't like it wasn't bad because he was like out of shape.
Yeah,
it was
bad
just
because it's
like
yeah.
you know what's weird? This movie made me kind of appreciate Chris Farley less because I like kind of like made me think about how much better John Candy was. Where Chris Farley was kind of like a one note guy, and John Candy has some. He
Depth.
has some depth to him. Yeah, he can.
Yeah,
Be
I
hilarious,
agree.
He can be the straight man. He can have serious roles. Like you've never seen Chris Farley like have like an actual like
Moment.
good. Yeah, like a good like he's just
Yeah.
yelling.
That's
and
probably why he's not acting
breathing
anymore.
fast. Well, yeah, that
Check.
maybe that's
Among other things.
We'll be right back.
I gotta feed the meter up.
All right, so
Uh,
what happens here?
So then they get in, they're doing their thing. Roman shows up with his kids, and he's got that crazy
The camera.
laugh. And
The
old
camera, the
camcorder.
video camera.
Oh, it's classic. My dad had one of those.
Even
even-
his sister getting her clothes taken off with a video camera.
Even the
Sister-in-law.
his
No, that was his sister.
no the
No,
sis-
the girls
the-
were
the-
sisters.
the girls
Yeah, the sisters, are, the
Oh.
girls, and that's never established. And
I
that
didn't
is
know
that
that.
is a flaw that it took me years to
they don't-
figure
they
that
don't fully
out. Like
establish
what?
that, yeah, they never actually.
they
do
don't
they actually
establish
ever
that until
say
the
it?
I don't think
Or
they
do
do. That's why I thought
They
it was
have,
the other
a-
way.
they have a conversation toward
At
the
the end,
end
they
that
do.
shows
Okay.
them that they're the
Oh,
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I
But they
thought it
never-
was.
right
I thought
off
it
the
was the
bat, they
woman
never
and the dude. I
established
thought it was Candy. I thought it was Aykroyd and Candy's wife or the sibling.
No,
I thought that
Aykroyd's
was
just
case.
the in-law.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure
Copy.
that shit out.
So
too.
when they're
Um,
sitting, so when they're sitting in the after that, they sit and they're looking out at the trees and that whole thing. If you
Oh,
notice if you guys noticed the like the glasses they were drinking out of, we used to have them as kids. I mean, their Return of the Jedi, I think Burger King glasses back in the day.
I saw that.
Back in the day, they had like a promotion when the movie came out. They had like they sold these,
Real
like,
glasses they used to give
Real-
away. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and they were like collector.
I had the Batman
the
Forever
collector's
ones.
editions.
I had the Batman Forever.
Oh,
ones.
nice.
I had, yeah, if we still
Yeah.
had them, they were well used and the shit is definitely wiped off of there by now.
It was
Classics.
cool.
All right, so
Um,
that also when Aykroyd gets in, I like the intercutting with them, like with him driving up, because it's like the opposite of when the other family was driving up, where it's like they drive up in like a nice Mercedes or whatever it was, and it's just like it's like crazy, like fast paced music, and they don't even
Yes.
show the family. It's just him like tapping on the steering wheel like frantically, and cuts to like the
Yeah.
jewelry and shit. So it's like I like that juxtaposition of those
To a
characters
happy,
as
happy
they come up.
family
Yeah.
singing
Yeah,
along.
yeah.
Like who's
And
this
their
guy
fa-
coming up? Yeah.
Their family's
Yeah.
great. It's a great family. Like for like a movie of this era and like this type, this family gets along really, really well and are really cool with each
Definitely.
other. Even when they kind of want to do their own thing, it's just like that's fine. Or when someone's freaking out, the other one calms them down. Like this is probably the like most well-rounded family, John Candy's family of any of these like 80s family movies. Certainly like the vacation movies.
I
Yeah.
didn't think about that till you just said it, but you're right. Everybody does kind of look out for each other, and no one ever overreacts when someone acts like an asshole. It's pretty nice.
even when
Uh,
like the kid wants to go away, he's like, all right, go away, but come back. We
Yeah.
got shit to
Because then
do."
eventually
Or
they go out on the boat and go and look at the stars.
they
and
go in
shit.
the
Yeah.
boat, and
Yeah.
he's like, no, I
Yeah.
don't want to go in the boat. And he's like, come on,
He's like,
man,
yeah,
we're
you
going in the
do.
boat.
Yeah.
The kid isn't like an asshole or anything. Like he eventually jumps in, and they have a good time. And
He says, "You can row."
Yeah.
yeah,
which is great. I mean, we'll get to
Yeah.
that, but like that whole scene with how Dan Aykroyd talks to his kids when he's like trying to like
Yeah,
Oh my
you're right,
God.
that story about
the
scaring
funniest
them,
thing he
like,
says in the
that
movie
was-
for sure.
yeah.
Good evening, children.
Point of the beginning, like that sets up the perfect the dichotomy of these two
Exactly,
families. Dichotomy, is that
yeah.
the right one?
Yeah.
Tried to use
Yeah.
a big word since we got guess.
Please.
Right up next.
Please.
We have
well,
things. Oh, the mom from Hocus Pocus, by the way. That's the only thing I know her from. But that's
Which mom?
The kid,
Candy's
the
wife?
non Annette Bening. Annette Bening. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
Oh, she
I
was
didn't
in
remember
there.
that.
I didn't realize she was also in Sideways for a second with Paul Giamatti. And,
Paul Giamatti.
and she was in that new TV show that came out last year with Adam Brody, but the rabbi, and she's Did you ever watch that with Kristen Bell? Came out. It's nice. Anyway, she's in
No.
that. So
Missed that one.
she's still at it.
I'm not a big Kristen Bell fan. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Hate her face.
I just don't like
Yeah.
rabbis.
That's probably why.
You don't like her breasts?
I just don't like rabbis.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know why I heard. Oh, we don't talk about Speedman on this.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Check please.
Just Speedman got canceled a couple years back.
Fair enough.
Oh, well.
But yeah,
come
so where
back.
are we? We're at that. We're on the dock, and I'll tell you, Candy. The two of them, like that whole scene where like Dan Aykroyd's like, "Do you know what I see when I look out into those trees?" And then he gives that like soliloquy of like the Dan Aykroyd classic technical jargon, fast talking. Like you said, like used car salesman guy, but he's like so perfect at that. He's been doing that since SNL. Like those characters, those fast talking, like full of information, and he's so eloquent, and he's so like, and he's so deliberate in everything that he's saying. It's
I hate that.
you hate that? I think
hate that. Yeah.
that's like his best trait. I feel like, but it's. I mean, yeah. I guess.
The
it's
way
a
you're
hit or miss,
describing
but-
it is how I would describe it, with like the opposite feeling though, which is making me think. I was like, I mean, it's not bad. Like it's just his thing. I guess
It's pretty. Yeah, it's his thing. He does that in a lot of his movies, where he's like he's able to fast talk his
Tommy
way.
Boy. Tommy Boy was he was exactly the same character in that.
Yeah, yeah.
He was
then,
also
yeah.
Chuck and Larry. He played the chief of the firemen. He was kind of just like that too. Also in My Fellow Americans, he was the guy running against them, and he was pretty much like that. So he does play that kind of character a lot.
Yeah.
Elwood Blues. He's the one who talks. He's the mouth.
Fast talker. I mean, he's from Chicago. He's a guy from Chicago, so that's what he knows.
That is my the one movie other than Stand By Me, the Dan Aykroyd that I like.
Blues.
Is
Nice.
Blues Brothers.
Blues Bros. Yeah, Blues Brothers is great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one.
All right, so where are they now? They're where do they go?
so
Where do
far
they
in.
go after? Oh no,
And
they're
of course, John Candy's reply to all that stuff, he's just like, I see
see
trees.
Yeah. He goes, nobody ever saw you as a visionary.
No one ever accuses you of being a visionary guy. Yeah, a guy with vision, I think he says, which is that's so fucked up.
I think they barbecue. He goes, all right, let's go get some hot dogs, and then he
Yeah,
chastises him again for one.
Lips.
Lips and ass. He goes, forgive me, I'm a guy who loves assholes.
And then he kisses
John
John Candy's. Can he kisses John Candy's
Oh,
wife?
yeah,
on the
yes, he
lips.
does.
on the lips. Yeah,
That was
yeah,
a
yeah.
little strange.
That's what. Yeah,
No one
Not
seemed
his
to care.
sister.
Yeah, but hey, whatever.
not his sister.
There's a
yeah.
line in this movie that I
Different
thought
times.
was pretty insane that I wonder if anybody knows what I'm talking about. It's actually I guess I'll tell you when we get there, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah, let's get there.
All right.
Yeah, lips and assholes should be a T-shirt. of some
My
kind.
friends
Yeah.
of mine,
Right.
or I remember people saying that back in the day. I didn't remember where it come from. Did I just say
You know what
that?
those things are made out of? Yeah.
But yeah, so John Candy wants to. He's like, let's go get some hot. And John Candy is literally describing, for me anyway, the perfect weekend. Every time he says, no, let's get a pontoon boat, let's do this, let's do that. He's describing exactly what I would want to be doing. And then
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd comes and fucks everything up. He goes, no, we're gonna eat lobster. Of course we're eating lobster. It's like $100 a lobster or something.
He's
Yeah.
a class
So impressive.
one-upper. He's such a dick. He's
He's a
just
big
always
one-upper,
like
dude.
making himself like
Yeah.
making himself cooler.
Oh, here's a fun
kind
game.
of backhanded complimenting everybody else.
Let's in our personal
Yeah.
lives all name a one-upper we hate. Schwartz.
A one
Personal.
upper.
I'm kidding.
No, I think he was
Check, please.
listing you.
Where do I
as-
begin? No.
I'm a one
as
upper.
because I
Oh no,
I'm
that's
pointing.
I wasn't doing that, but
Do I
that,
one
that
up
would have
you?
been
you got a good joke there.
that would have been my pick.
I should have said
funny.
Jake, and you should have said Schwartz, and then we could have all had a good laugh.
I would have laughed.
So yeah, they're eating hot dogs they're eating
They're eating the lobster,
lobsters. He kisses his
Yeah.
wife.
and he's starting to get Candy's kids on the, hey, like I'm gonna spring some coin on a jet boat. Is anybody else
Oh,
in with
yeah.
me? And he's starting to draw lines. Candy.
Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, sorry, Dad.
He's trying to be the cool uncle.
He's trying to be the cool uncle right off the bat.
Trying to be the cool uncle.
Right off the bat.
I want to be a
Yeah.
cool uncle. I'd
Which
get a
is
jet
cool.
boat
Why
for the
not?
boys.
Why not? Yeah.
Let's describe the kids a little bit. Somebody describe Dan Aykroyd's kids and tell me why they're both redheaded.
Yeah, interesting casting there.
Twins,
Yeah, I think they were trying
Shining
to.
Girls.
I think that's what they were going for. I feel like
Yeah.
Oh,
they were
really?
trying to make them
Hold on,
weird
hold on.
as possible. Yeah.
What? Sorry. Yeah. No,
No,
definitely.
that was fun though. I like that
And they
because the
even
scene
play-
in the bedroom when he tells that horrible story that I laughed at pretty hard about.
Oh,
like,
that's the best.
Escaped fucking military patients and they like ate their fucking people and they're just like,
Okay, so side note,
They didn't
and
sleep all night. Yeah.
maybe we don't record this part, but what if we wrote that movie?
I was thinking about something along those lines.
That's like almost like Garfield
Cannibal
Park,
movie.
right? No? Yeah.
I
That
don't
wasn't
know.
a cannibal movie.
Well, no, not Cannibal. Yeah, that's right. Those
It's
guys.
like
Remember
if-
they were like a God.
It's like if Dark Angel was a cannibal.
I never saw Dark Angels. Is that what that's about?
Jessica Alba?
Yeah, I love Jessica Alba. James Cameron too, right?
Yeah, James Cameron.
Yeah.
You ever heard of him?
Greatest pioneer, James Cameron.
He lives at the bottom of the sea.
Yeah.
I heard he sabotaged a bunch of billionaires a couple months back, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh shit! Imagine that. James Cameron's like,
He's just poking it with down there. This thing sucks.
"You're not gonna go deeper than me." That'd be hilarious.
This leads up to, unless we have more to say about the dinner scene, is the one of the funnest scenes. One of the funnest John Candy scenes is the bear story.
The bear story. It's classic.
Oyster, yeah,
Classic.
Absolute
good.
classic.
The fact that he's scoping the room out at first, and then he whatever Dan Aykroyd's saying, he's like setting the mood. He's like flipping lights off and like turning the fire
Nonchalantly.
on. And, like getting ready, like just getting ready. I thought that was pretty funny.
The camera's just going like this, circling him, so it's
Yeah.
very dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
while he's telling the story, and somebody can tell the story we want, but the camera is like POV of him, all to the people listening, and even Dan Aykroyd is like freaking out.
That I was about to say that's what I liked about this movie is both Dan Aykroyd and John Candy did play their parts well enough to where they were super emotional in the funniest moments. You know what I mean? In that way of like being around your family and being able to be yourself in front of them. You know what I mean? Because Dan Aykroyd was a dick, though, but like he could be freaked out in front of these people because it's his family, and that was good because at least some people can.
I'll give him that.
Yeah.
I like that.
He didn't let the ego.
Yeah.
But is that? I don't know. Do you think Dan Aykroyd was thinking that deeply about the role?
Yes, I do. I
Yeah,
honestly
probably.
do.
High on
You
cocaine.
know what's
He
crazy?
was not that-
do you know what's crazy is these guys were like our age when they made this movie. They were like 37, 38 years old, which is pretty crazy. They look way older than us, in my opinion. I think they looked way. I don't think I
Cocaine,
look like
dog.
that,
Ages
you know what I
you.
mean? I don't think we look
Go
that.
age a little faster. You do everything a little
I
faster.
guess so.
Cocaine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Oh,
Neither would I.
you guys are in your mid-30s? My God. Late
What'd you
30s?
Late
I'm-
30s.
yeah.
Good
I'm
Lord.
40. I've been 40 for the
almost-
past year and a
40?
half now.
I'm approaching 40.
Same.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. So Dan Aykroyd's still killing it. What's John Candy doing?
He died
Well-
like 6 years later.
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd's still doing shit.
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd does still do shit.
Yeah.
Busy man. I don't know about now as much, but
He's been in so many Adam
He's
Sandler
doing
movies too.
all
It's
of-
insane.
He's in all of these new Ghostbusters movies.
Yeah.
still making money off the
Plays-
Ghostbusters.
He plays a.
I
pretty
mean,
pivotal role.
rightfully, it's his.
he
it was
wrote
his
it.
shit.
Yeah.
It was his
Yeah.
original idea. So yeah, all that. I mean, for Dan Aykroyd, hell yeah, good for you, man.
He's big on the paranormal
Yeah.
Frontier League.
If we were,
Oh, that's right. He has
He's
like
been
a what
kook.
a tequila or a whiskey. He has
Vodka.
like
Got a vodka.
Crystal Skull vodka.
Yeah,
Crystal Skull
that's
vodka.
It. Yeah,
It's really
forgot about
it's
that.
really the worst vodka I've ever tasted.
It's
in my
not
life.
good.
but it has a
You
case.
fucking hates Dan Aykroyd. I don't think I've heard anybody hate Dan Aykroyd as much as Anthony.
Yeah, I've never
ever.
heard this
He's
either.
like he's your
Yeah.
least favorite person ever.
He's my
Yeah,
least
he's like,
favorite
vodka
person
sucks.
in this movie for sure.
And Ghostbusters, you said too.
Of course he is.
Well,
of the
then,
core
see,
of
he
the
hates-
bees, he's 5 of 5. Are there 5?
There's 4.
He's below. Well,
I mean, Ernie Hudson is pretty
He's
amazing.
5
I
of 4.
love Ernie Hudson in those movies.
Ernie Hudson's underrated.
He might be my second favorite
Yeah.
behind fucking Hackman. Or,
But you're still ranking him under like Rick Moranis, who's not even a Ghostbuster.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't-
Moranis is my
100%.
favorite.
Moranis is
100%.
amazing.
Exactly.
Moranis
Moranis
is
is my
amazing,
favorite.
yeah.
if
Right.
Dan
He's
Aykroyd was
amazing.
there, he would have got punched in the face. Dan Aykroyd was the last choice for this role.
Well, he was the second choice.
Third,
Who was the second?
not him.
I think it was Chase, Chevy Chase, Bill Murray.
Oh, you're right.
Dan-
You're right, Bill Murray. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It would have been good to
All
see
random thing I
Rick
saw.
Moranis in this movie, though. I think it's
That would have been cool.
yeah.
yeah.
Instead of
Well, I'm
which
trying
role?
to think who would you switch out for these two guys? Like who?
Out of
both
those,
of them?
But
Moranis,
John Candy, yeah.
sorry, what'd
Chet,
you say?
right? I was gonna say Chet. Yeah, sorry, we're all
Chet?
talking at the same time. Yeah,
Yeah.
John Candy's character. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
But I also think he could have been just the old man, the Mr. Lundy's character, the if the guy,
Yeah.
the runner of the
totally.
pines.
Yeah.
So, I've never seen Rick Moranis play the asshole that I can think of. He's always like the nice dad character, like the
Oh,
nice
the nice
guy, or like
guy,
yeah, like is he ever like
Yeah.
the mean or bad dude?
He's Darth Helmet.
He's Darth Helmet in space.
The worst person
He's
in the
the
world.
Yeah.
biggest villain of that whole movie. My bad.
Hot,
But
too
of, like,
hot.
Multiple universes.
Everyone knows I drink coffee when I watch Radar.
Of course we do, sir.
Assholes.
While John Candy was the hero of the film as Bart.
Yes. We have seen
I mean,
them
he did-
together.
He did that before the year before he did this. I mean, Candy
Okay.
was like firing all. I mean, he did Summer Rental, then he did Spaceballs, Planes, Trains, this movie, and then he did Uncle Buck right after this,
Damn, that's fucking. And then Home
Jeez.
Alone eventually, right
and then
after
Home
that.
Alone right after that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he was a cameo in that basically.
Yeah, but he was great in that. You know what I mean?
He
He's
great.
memorable
saved
in that.
the day,
He
even though
saved
the
the day.
family would have shown up like moments later. Either
Yeah,
way,
they would have
so
still
it
gotten
would have
there
been fine.
like
But
5 later.
again,
Yeah.
he saved the. He
Yeah,
Oh, I
gave us
never
that really
realized
good.
that. That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
they just all got home at like
Oh,
almost the same
That's
time.
fucking hilarious.
To
It all
show
worked
that
out
she
just
was
fine,
saving
Mom.
time. It was to show that her perseverance and wanting to get
Yeah,
there, and
yeah.
it didn't matter if she would have
It's
only
just
gotten there, guys.
One of those
But that's
funny,
funny, though.
happy
That's
They show
funny.
up
holiday
right after.
coincidences. Yeah.
What's funny
Yeah.
is that it worked so well that it didn't even matter. That I didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
Like,
Right,
it didn't,
right.
That was so
Because they,
good.
had, they had that moment, they
Yeah.
had that payoff
Yeah.
where like Kevin
Yeah.
and the mom
Is
made up,
that-
and then the family.
Is
had
that
to
John
do
Hughes'
all
best
that.
movie?
I
No.
think it's John Hughes'
One
best.
of
Oh,
top three for
one
sure.
or two?
Top three. Top three.
Yeah, I think
One or
I think Bueller and Breakfast Club are.
Bueller's
up
probably
there.
number one.
I
You'll
think,
probably
Really?
know the one.
Yeah.
I think those two are like the
I
classic.
put Bueller
John
below. I mean, they're all classics to us now, boys.
Yeah.
We're
True.
Yeah,
But what I think when people
yeah.
think of John Hughes, they like those are the like I think those two.
I think 16
particularly-
Candles.
You don't think
is
people think
pretty
of Home
big,
Alone?
too.
16.
I do. I think
I-
people of our generation think of Home Alone.
I do, but not as much
Your
as
next generation
directed,
probably
but
think like
yeah.
fucking the ones we said, this movie and all that shit.
But I think when you say
Yeah,
Home Alone,
Ferris.
you don't think John Hughes. Like when you talk about like 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller, I think you think Johnny. Maybe not as much Ferris Bueller.
I think Chris
Moderate,
Columbus when I think of Home Alone, actually.
that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
also that Macaulay Culkin, you know,
just because you
Yeah.
love America so much. or-
Yeah,
O'Hara,
Well,
Schuster, and like.
all right, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I
Is
get
Home
what you're
Alone not the
saying.
best
Listen,
movie
he's
ever.
making
Like,
a good
I get what
point.
you're saying.
But
Yeah,
you
I
can't
get
just
it.
start agreeing with him now.
Well, all these other people though, when I think of Home Alone, I guess if I was going to describe it to somebody to watch it, I would
You know,
say all those
that
people
John
before
Hughes classic, Home Alone.
Yeah, but maybe
And
yeah,
then
I
that's-
don't know.
The response
Yeah.
being, "Who the fuck is John Hughes?"
Yeah, you know Ferris Bueller. That's what I would
Who
say.
the fuck is Chachi?
All right, well, so where are we? Where are we at?
The Bear Story.
Okay,
Yeah.
he tells the bear story. You're talking about the flashback scenes, right? Or when he's acting out, or not flashbacks, but the reenactment scenes when he's like in the window and shit, all that. That was
Those
fun.
are great. Yeah,
Yeah,
those are fun.
those are
I
great.
wanted to-
I was
yeah.
talking about how he like sets the mood in the room. He's like flipping the lights off and like
Oh, that was
getting
good
the
too.
So
vibe. Like,
casually.
it's just yeah,
It's
just
just
so casually
so
while
nice.
Dan Aykroyd's saying some bullshit in the corner.
yeah.
Freaking out a little bit too, like you said.
And then yeah, when he's
Yeah, he
telling
had
the
to-
story, yeah, I do like that. I agree. I agree that it's cool that he's freaking out. Sorry, Haig, go ahead.
No. And like while he's telling the story, he gets like right in Dan Aykroyd's kid's face. He like scared. I mean, I'd be scared shitless if like one of my uncles came up and told that story and got right in my face. He's like, he was a man eater. You know, we're like 4 years old or whatever. I don't know. I'd freak out. Yeah. But they were just like they looked like they were comatose the whole movie. Which
yeah,
is,
their
But they're
role
like space
was
cadets.
interesting.
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
were fucking they were terrifying. Really, they were
were
fucking
just- yeah.
terrifying.
yeah. I think maybe that's why they were twins.
I wonder if they
And,
asked the original twins to be in the movie, and they're like, nah, we're still making our movie we're still making our
talking
money from The Shining.
But you talking about Schwarzenegger and DeVito?
Yeah, and they're like, he's like, no,
That is
just because we
hilarious.
act in it doesn't mean I be in it.
They're just quietly sitting there together in the bed, just quiet, just scared together.
Like,
Good
you got-
evening,
yeah.
children. As
Good
the
evening,
father
children.
figure of this family, I wanted to address the potential fear you might be experiencing.
That was the one part that I fully enjoyed. Dan
was
Aykroyd
funny.
was when
It
was
made me
after the
laugh.
story, after it. Oh, also, like just the end of the story when he throws his whiskey in the fire and it blows out the top. Like that was epic. That epic. If somebody
Yeah.
told me a story and
Yeah.
ended it like that, I'd be on my feet. I'd be on my feet.
What are you
But
trying
yeah.
to do? Give me a heart attack? My God. You know,
Yeah, what'd you
freaking
say?
out.
My plaque's moving again.
Black's moving again, and everyone gets mad at him. It's just so great.
Yeah,
It's
like
so
fully
Yeah.
like disappointed in him for telling just a killer
Yeah.
story.
great. Killer story.
John Candy's amazing. He in this movie alone, he exhibits every emotion and I don't even like this movie. I think he's just clearly the superior actor of those two.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you guys
This was a
don't
great
like Dan
reminder
Aykroyd?
again of how great John Candy.
I agree.
was.
I love John Candy.
It made me
Yeah.
like want to like revisit more of his movies because it's been a while since I've seen, other than Home Alone, which I watch every year because it's so great. We keep talking about that, but yeah, I gotta watch more.
Like
of John
Planes,
Candy.
Trains.
I miss
Planes,
it.
Trains, and
Yeah.
Uncle Buck are
Planes,
like
Trains is
the
really
best.
fun. They're
Yeah.
both,
Yeah.
Uncle Buck's great. I
Yeah,
love
Uncle
those
Buck's
movies.
amazing.
I probably haven't seen Uncle Buck in years. I probably Planes, Trains recently, but Uncle Buck, it's been a long time.
And to prove my point, at the end when they try to give Dan Aykroyd that kind of trains planes like talk, even though he's still a scumbag. Like they give him that kind of moment for a second of
Yeah.
I'm not such a bad guy, like that whole thing. And compared to John Candy in Planes, Trains, Automobiles, when he's like, I like me. My mother likes me, dude. I tear up, I choke up just thinking about that scene.
Oh yeah, that's an iconic scene.
Yeah.
There's just no comparison.
No,
Yeah, no, I agree. He doesn't have the depth.
They took all
It's
the
really
good
a
parts
shame.
and they put it in Planes, Trains. Or wait, no, what were they shooting that year? Was it Planes, Trains?
Planes, Trains.
well, that was the year before. That came out a year before.
Okay.
Yeah, but what's his name? Hughes didn't direct this movie, like Anthony said, because he decided to direct Planes, Trains instead. He was going to do it, and then he was like, I'll just do this. I read it's because he wanted to too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It might have just been the order of how they were released.
Sure,
I think
yeah,
they like butted up to each other.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
John Candy
So
just keeping busy. They're like, we're not going to keep this guy ain't
Dude,
going to be around
one
forever.
after the next.
We need to just
Yeah.
knock him out.
So, like, what after that story? The next morning, they go. Where do they go?
Is it
Well,
water skiing?
They
go into town.
There's the two scenes
Yeah.
I think of him going in
Oh,
and
yeah,
talking to his kids, where he's just like,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
He like hears John Candy kind of, because like you said, everyone got mad at him, and he's walking upstairs going to bed,
Yeah.
and he hears John Candy like consoling
He
his
listens to
youngest
him.
kid, like, it was
Yeah.
just a story, basically just telling him it was a fake story that my dad told me, and we're all we're just fucking around. It's campfire stories. That's what we do here, and
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what. I don't know. Was it Dan Aykroyd is he trying to be a good dad?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. He's
It
trying to
was
be a
him
good
like
dad.
realizing like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. It's like
Is he just such a
it's like the
piece of shit, then?
sociopath side
He's
of
kind
him.
of dumb.
Like I think he's a little like he's like a narcissist. He's like that. It's like that side of him is like peeking up of like, oh, I'm supposed to do that to be normal. Okay, I gotta.
Because
go
he-
with
Well,
it.
he even says
yeah,
to him in
yeah.
the end when he goes, he's like, you got to save your kids when they're in the bear thing. So you gotta
Yeah,
save
he
your
was
kids.
like,
What are you
I
doing?
can't
For the
do
first
it.
time in your life,
Yeah.
do it.
Right.
Yeah,
He's like, I
John
gotta.
Candy says that too.
Almost like Aykroyd
Yeah,
wants
that's
to
what I'm
make
saying.
sure, like he's noticing that John Candy's kids look up to him because he even says it,
Yeah.
like I think, and maybe the next scene or a coming scene of like John Candy's kids look up to him, and he's like, my kids look at me like I'm a fucking bag of tool. I don't even know what he said, but
Yeah.
It's like Trump.
like a tool chest or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's like, hey,
Trump.
these guys like
He's
this
kinda
guy
like
because
Trump.
he's doing this. Maybe I'll try that.
yeah,
And then
So
just
he kinda-
totally
that's-
doesn't do it right.
right. But that's like that side of him is there with that scene. And I think, and that scene's great. And how he talks to them is like how he would talk to an adult, and it doesn't
Right.
like help
Right.
at all. And then it like changes the scene to be about himself talking about some other scary story that
Because it
scared
basically
him.
just sounds
and
like he goes in and
scared
goes,
them
gentlemen,
further."
let me sit down and tell you the story.
Yeah, basically. He says like good evening, children.
Good evening. And again,
Good
these
evening,
girls are
children.
just the creepiest twins I've
Yeah.
ever seen.
Oh,
How'd they do the CG back then, you think, to make them two people?
that's a good question.
That's
ILM.
that's Lindsay Lohan and her twin that she killed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That she prestiged later on.
Yeah, it was a drunk driving accident when
Jeez.
she was 14.
Jeez.
Cool.
Lauren
Cool.
Lohan. Yeah, I don't talk about her anymore.
Message.
And the next scene, I think, is another one with the kids, right? When he's shaving.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
he's talking about being the way the
Yeah.
kids look at him. And they're in the fucking hallway looking at him.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah,
when they're
the-
just staring at him, he's like scratching his head. He's like,
And he
how
doesn't
come-
Picking
realize
his
that.
nose hairs.
what does he say, though? He's like, how
My
come
kids, my kids think I'm a rack of yard tools at Sears or something.
Yeah, he's like,
something
how
like
come
that.
they look at? How come the Chet's kids look at him like he's a god, and my kids look at me? I'm like, I'm a rack of yard tools at Sears.
And then he spent more time with us. And then he picks up the phone and goes, hold on, I got to call. I got to go do this.
Yeah. Well, also he's
he's,
scamming a priest right there, isn't he?
I think
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
He's
Yes.
like, I've been to this guy's
Father, of
church,
course. Of course. No, I've come to your sermon before. Yeah, no, I'm a good guy. Like
trying to get this.
you got-
And what's
you
his
got
deal? He needs
$25,000 in
he needs
pockets?
25 G's, right?
Yeah.
25 G's for some. I don't even know if they say what it's for, but
Bad
for
business.
investment of some
For
sort.
he's a, well, he says he says that he's an investor. That's what he does. Because early on, somebody says that, oh, my wife's got a lot of money, and or no, not early on. I think that happens later. But my wife's got a lot of money, and he's like, well, let me talk to her. That's what I do. I'm a money man. I invest things.
Right.
Apparently, he's well off. Apparently,
Fake Rolexes.
Seemingly.
At
suck
first.
my wake. Maybe is that next?
Suck my
Yeah,
wake.
I think this is they go to town. They go to town. They got the boat.
Hilarious.
And then the
movie.
son meets the
hot
girl, which
dog.
I think is the worst actor ever. That chick was the worst actor I've ever seen in my
What?
life.
It's a little
She was
later,
so
yeah.
I
bad.
thought she was
Yeah.
the second best to John Candy.
Dude, she was bad. When they would like show her just like hanging out by herself, she'd be like,
Look,
She
man,
was
you
always
don't, you don't,
waiting.
I was
don't
like,
know.
what's going on?
She was always
you
waiting.
don't know how
on him.
local she is, man.
Dude,
okay?
she said that.
Yeah,
You
that
don't know how
line-
local I am. I thought
Yeah.
to myself, what
Honestly,
the fuck?
I
Yeah.
thought those scenes were the most John Hughes of this whole movie. It was like that's as close to
good.
a good John Hughes movie as we were gonna get, and we didn't get any of it. We just saw it was a total throwaway scene. It was a bulk scene. Bulk this up a little bit while we have the two
Totally.
masters work in the house behind us.
Yeah.
Side
this,
note-
it seems like
Sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
What
no,
did it
go
seem
ahead.
like?
No, it just seemed like to that point, like it seemed like everyone else was just in the room, and it was just about Aykroyd and Candy the whole film.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Except when like the old guy was in it, the guy on the when that dude
Except
when
when
he was in
Prosky,
it,
yeah. But Prosky's
Dude, you know
there,
who was
yeah.
hilarious
Yeah.
too? I know
He's
it
the
wasn't
cla-
a big
he-
deal at all.
He held his weight. He was the only
Yeah.
other person that could hold his weight because he's older and he's been doing it longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the guy with the lightning. When the guy with the lightning was in the woods and he hears it get and like he hears the thunder, that made me laugh pretty hard too. He's just
How
like,
many
"What's
times has it
outside right
been?"
now? He gets struck by lightning. There's no need for that, but I thought that was funny as fuck.
It was stupid.
It was dumb as fuck. Yeah, but I
Stupid.
laughed.
Yeah,
like when I
he-
saw him
oh,
in the woods, he's like,
He's like, six times. 66 times.
yeah.
In the head. Talk about bad acting. That guy never got
That's
hit in
not
the head
even
with
the
lightning.
scene I'm talking about. I know we skipped over that, but I'm talking about it later.
Yeah,
in the
at
movie.
the end when he's
They
running
show him
around and he gets
outside.
hit again.
When he just goes,
Oh my
but the
God.
first time he just looks up and I just thought that was funny. I was like, why even have that? It's so dumb, but it made me laugh.
Yeah,
It's like,
it was a
I feel like
really
that's what Adam
random
Sandler
cut to
does a
that,
lot,
too.
and that's what it was
A
funny.
lot of random
Was.
cuts.
Yeah.
There would be
Yeah.
no
Cuts.
Family Guy without these films.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
True.
Yeah.
True.
I do remember that it was because it was funny, but it was so random. There was no transitional scenes in this movie. This, like we said before, this movie was scene, black, scene, fade to black, scene, fade to black. There was nothing like, all right, let's go into town. It's just like, okay, we're in
It was-
town.
Yeah, it was very pieced together. It felt
Yeah.
like a lot of these scenes could have been in any order. A lot of times, like,
For
oh, this
sure,
could have
yeah.
been at any moment in this movie, and
Yeah.
it, so I don't know. Yeah, that's
So they get the boat, they get the jet boat, which is named Suck My Wake, which is pretty great. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. I get it.
I think the ski scene is where that's kind of where it started losing me because I'm like, they're still skiing. Okay,
I
was good.
laughed pretty hard.
I heard-
see, like how many people should have died in that scene from his fucking cord that they would have decapitated. I was like, oh man, this is dangerous.
That's true. Imagine
Seems
if
like
people
on the
didn't
rope.
duck that ducked.
That's what I'm saying.
I
Fuck.
was like, oh, the rope.
It was ridiculous. Jake didn't like it because it was ridiculous. I get it. It was slapstick. It was one leg on there and shit like that. It was a little slapstick.
Everything that
It's like-
happened bad in a skiing experience happened to John Candy.
I
Why
love that
did
it was
he
John
have
Candy
skis
though.
on?
45-minute skis. That
was
is
trying to show
also
his-
weird.
He was trying to show his
but-
kid how to do it, but he put the skis on. I guess that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, that's dumb.
And that's definitely not how
Yeah,
people
well,
start skiing standing on the dock. But hey, whatever.
Yeah,
Well, I don't
You
think
go-
they
go
skied like
say
that.
go. he's like he's saying go. Oh, go. Okay, let's go.
I'm sure they would have dipped their toes in the water once they were ready.
So we'll just go.
The only other motorboat kind of water ski, and he wasn't skiing scene, is then the movie that came out a year later, which was Weekend at Bernie's, when Bernie like falls off the back of the boat and he's just like a he's tied to a rope and he's hitting the
And that's
buoys
not the only Weekend at Bernie's reference we're gonna have for this movie.
True.
Oh, what's the other one? What are you thinking?
Oh, we'll get there.
Oh, we'll get there. Okay,
It's a
okay,
pretty
yeah,
clear one.
All right, I gotta think about it. I gotta think about it.
But yeah, number one, I heard he did all his stunts. John Candy, that was him the whole time, which is really
Get the
cool.
fuck
And
outta here,
number
really?
two,
Are you
Yeah.
serious?
yeah,
No.
he learned to ski for like 2 months before this movie.
Like the ski, but there was like shit where he was like flying
No.
in the air. And
No,
Yeah.
Every
He
I
was
just
in the
watched.
air?
I just finished. I just watched the interview with him.
great.
I'm kidding. Of course.
Oh,
not.
yeah.
You guys
I
are
was-
idiots.
that would have been great. I believe it. But
Stunt school for like
That's
6
how
months.
he
yeah.
died. My high school principal, and this is just because I think we're having too much fun. It was a quadriplegic, and it was because of a water skiing accident.
Oh, that's terrible.
Did you know him
Jeez.
beforehand or no?
No, I didn't. We only knew him in the chair.
he fucking hated Great Outdoors.
He probably hated that movie. They're like, "This is nothing to laugh about, guys." About no, he's the voice box or anything, but yeah. skiing accident. So that lake is Bass Lake in California. I used to vacation there.
Yeah.
So I was going to say that earlier about the town. Every time they went into town, it's such a big lake. I wouldn't recognize. I think it was a thing where like that's the Great Outdoors house right there. That's the cabin. But for sure, whenever they were in town, that little area, I recognized that. I used to hang out there as a kid all the time. It was a good time.
It's up by like
Is that near
Yellow.
It's out by Yellowstone or Big Bear? Is it about Big Bear? Or
No, it's about 2 hours south of Yosemite.
Yellowstone.
Oh, yes.
No,
Wait, no,
Yellowstone,
Yosemite.
not
You're right.
California.
You're right. I'm dumb.
Big
You're smart.
geysers in Yellowstone.
As usual. You're right. Yeah. Yosemite.
I know things about California.
Oh, wow.
I knew it was filmed in Yosemite. I just forgot that
It wasn't filmed. I heard someone say that it
Or-
was
or
not
near
filmed in
it or
Yosemite. Yeah,
something.
Bass Lake is not in or near Yosemite. I mean, a couple hours away, but it's in the same mountain range,
Okay.
the
Okay.
Yeah, I guess
Sierra
they're talking
Nevadas.
Broad strokes then.
Yeah, I know. I remember I watched like a 10 things you need to know about Great Outdoors, and this guy was like, it was in and then he listed a bunch of other movies that were filmed in Yosemite, and I was like, he's getting these very confused right now, but I could see the confusion.
So it's just things that were like, it's like clear like LA. It's like, yep, this was filmed in Yosemite.
That's all like 5 hours north of LA, so
Yeah.
Oh,
the
wow.
movie Falling Down with Michael Douglas, that was Yosemite.
they used a lot of Yosemite for The Shining to bring back The Shining.
It all circles back to The Shining.
It kind of does.
Yeah.
Kubrick has a
80s,
way
dude.
of doing that.
Yeah.
There's like a 80s
Even the
universe
cabin.
of movies. It's like all 80s movies exist in the same universe.
Is this a Cabin in the Woods movie?
Well, Shining's an
Could
80s
have
movie.
been.
You know?
Yeah, Shining was
kind of.
1980, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're both
Yeah.
80s cabin movies.
1980.
Spooky.
I mean, it was a little after that.
No, I think it was 1980. The
It was
Shining
80.
thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank God Dan Aykroyd showed up because fucking John Candy might have killed his entire family.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or scammed him.
Yeah, he was a good distraction to make John not a dull boy.
So,
So where are we now? We're at
Water
the- so
skiing.
what happens
They
after
do
skiing?
a pretty epic water skiing
Water ski.
stunt. I mean, this is also a time of stunts too, Jake. So they're gonna milk this, just like they milk these goddamn raccoons.
I know.
Oh, the
Oh,
raccoons
yeah.
are funny though.
Piece of its time. I know.
Yeah.
Do you think rocks are gonna stop us? We'll just move them. Ha ha.
The the raccoons are the best
They're
characters.
hilarious.
So yeah,
Okay.
after that scene, he gets fed up, and like it cuts to him like opening up his drawer and like packing up all of his stuff, and he's like, I can't be here, and then he starts complaining about his kids. Like, let's talk
This
about
is
his
funny.
kids. You know, his kids are spooky. You know,
Yeah, well, because Annette Ben or not Annette Bening, his wife is like, he's like, what are you doing? She's
Yeah.
like, I'm out of here. He's like, if you want to stay, you can. And she's like, what about the kids? Obviously talking about her own kids. and he's like, let's talk about it. What does he say? He's like, I'm afraid their heads are gonna spin around. They're gonna spit pea soup at me. Oh, and then she
Yeah,
goes,
he
what
gets
does she say?
totally
She's like,
frustrated. Yeah,
she's like, no, talk about our kids.
our kids already do that. Yeah.
Oh, it's just that is a real couple argument right there. Like that's a real. I feel that again another John Hughes moment right there. Another good John Hughes moment in this
Yeah.
movie.
What he
Full of-
does is doesn't make him think that his kids are better than his family's kids, his other family kids. You know what I mean? That's cool. Like he didn't act like they were above him. You know, even though they're weird.
Talking about our
That's
yeah, he
nice.
didn't say anything like, "Well, our
Yeah.
kids are perfect. Their kids suck." No, he's like, "Yeah,
no,
yeah, that's
he was
true,
like,
yeah.
my kids do that already.
They're real.
That's cool.
They're real.
That's a family guy would.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're real. Yeah.
Yeah.
At its
There's no
core,
hatred for those kids. You know what I mean? They're just little weirdos.
Yeah.
That's the best
I hate those
part about
kids.
this movie.
You're not related to them.
I think the best part about this is these little interactions John Candy has with his family, with his wife, with his kids.
Sure.
Like those are always like the best
Yeah.
moments in this movie. Which is even I don't know if that was the point. It seemed like the point was a comedy, but the interactions he has made just that
all of John Hughes
alone
stuff
made for
has
a
that.
good family film for sure. And I think
If
those
John Hughes
points
would have
definitely
directed
came
this,
true.
maybe that would have been more prevalent. That could have been a thing. You know.
Even
Yeah.
in Home Alone, the non-John Hughes John Hughes movies, like the moments where he's talking about his family and where he's talking to his mom, like those are really heartfelt moments. Even in the beginning when he's like, I wish my parent, like when he's like saying he wishes they didn't exist in the first one and he wishes he had himself to whatever in the second one, like those are like hard hitting because, well, number one, because it's good acting. Number two, because Macaulay Culkin is one of the best actors of his generation, even as a kid.
He was great in The Good Son.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Talk about
He's the
range.
best 8-year-old I know.
Made me want to kill people.
Damn.
Home Alone.
Damn.
Like if they broke in your house,
Of
I'd
course,
kill
yeah,
people.
that's what I mean.
wanted to kill people
Yeah.
with like my like marbles and like
I had a
toy cards and
BB
stuff.
gun. I was patrolling the house, dude.
I always, warm up door handles and stuff.
So they go home.
My
She
dad hated
convinces
that.
him to stay, to
Sure.
his chagrin. And then
Yes.
they go, and then I think this is where they go to the 102-year-old man's party.
Yeah.
91st birthday, I think was supposed to be, but
91st? I thought he was well into the hundreds.
was
He's
one
no,
of-
he's,
it was-
he was 109.
it was-
He's
It was
100.
109. Yeah.
that's what it was. I got the nines and the ones mixed up.
That
And-
was actually hilarious with the joke. The punchline of this whole scene is pretty fucking funny, to be honest.
Yeah, he died.
Pretty funny.
Bill died
in the car on the way over here.
Yeah, that was really good.
That's
I
are we
thought
good?
that was
That's
funny.
What are you
that's a
mad
clear
at me
weekend
for?
Bernie's.
He did it.
Yeah.
They
Yes,
propped this
yes.
fool.
That
Why'd
was
they
it.
bring him in?
Yeah.
Why did they bring him in? What are they? I guess what are you
They don't
supposed
want
to
to
do?
ruin the party, I guess. I don't
Let's say you're
Yeah.
up in like a cabin in the woods. You don't really, you can't. What am I going to get to him? I can't get to him to a hospital. He's dead already. Can't get to a hospital. The morgue's 2 days away. Like, might as well just
But
prop him
still
up.
bring him into his own birthday
Where would
party
you do
is
it?
strange.
Where would you put him?
You can't just leave him in the car.
No, he's gonna
I-
rot. Raccoons are gonna get to him.
Yeah.
They got hands. They'll
I
pick
don't know.
locks.
What do people do with dead bodies in general? I mean,
This-
usually there's like
Jake,
a
freezer?
hospice or sort of something involved, or like maybe put him in the freezer.
So
I'm
that he
talking-
didn't get ruined, No, you didn't want to crash the party. If everybody knew he was
Hell.
dead, the party would have stopped.
He was
The party.
Sure, but
there?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. They brought him
But
in and
they still found out.
did it. They did it
Didn't
for
ruin the party.
If they did it for that reason, then they were keeping the fact that he was dead from people. You're saying that's what they were doing?
Yeah, 100%. You
They were
don't think that was the case?
I don't know.
I don't
That's
like
way
that.
better.
But
Yeah,
it
I
kind of
took
felt
it.
like that. Yeah,
That's how I
kind of
took
read
it.
it.
That's
Yeah,
how I read
same.
it.
But I
Okay,
mean,
that's
Oh,
why.
that's
Walt did it
hilarious.
pretty quickly.
Wally's just like,
No
hey,
one
fuck,
knew.
hey, just bring him in. Like he said, don't tell anybody. We'll have him in the corner. The party will go on. We bought all this cake.
Kids shouldn't be crawling on him like
Yes.
that. Maybe that's not a good. No, the kids. Well,
You know, he ain't a
there's a guy.
jungle gym.
I also think that like if Wally put on that suit that was riding up something fierce. He's like, if I'm gonna wear this suit, I'm gonna bring this guy in, and we're having this
I
party.
put this suit on. I'm not gonna not have a
Put the
party.
suit on. Hey, you're Mr. Coordinated over
Anthony,
here.
that's why I think he tried to say it on the down low. Like, well,
Yeah.
he's like, don't get him off because he no one knew but him.
Oh, okay,
That's amazing.
That's great.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, they weakened at Bernie's him. I mean, it's just a good old fashioned dead guy party.
And this is the line. Remember
Yeah.
I said
The
before
old
the
dead
line
guy
that I
move.
thought was crazy. This is the line. He goes, why do you want the girls to get off of me? He's like, no, what old man wouldn't want a young girl kissing him on the cheek? And I was like, oh God, that's you shouldn't say that.
Yeah,
Jeez.
80s.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can not see it creepily. I think you could not see that as a creepy thing to say. They're
The way
just
he
little
delivered it
girls.
was creepily though too.
Yeah.
The way he
Yeah.
delivered it was pretty it was pretty creepily delivered, to be honest.
No, I think I don't.
Eh.
I disagree with that. I feel like that's a woke leftover mentality that you're holding on to.
I'm woke. You think I'm woke?
I think you're
Yep.
playing a woke
Yeah.
card right now for some reason. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, for
What?
I didn't
Why
take
would
it
I
that
do
way.
that?
no one wanted to bat an eye if someone said that in '88. That's all. That's all I know.
just don't think that's a weird
It's
thing to
just,
say,
yeah.
especially in '88.
It's definitely creepy now, but
All right.
back then it wasn't like.
All right,
it
get
I
it.
could see if you wanted to take it there,
For the
you could make
movie.
it creepy, but I didn't see it as creepy. I think what was creepier was the fact that he was dead. I think that was the joke of the whole scene.
It was hilarious, but I still think what he said and the way he said it was pretty. It was a little weird.
Shows where your mind
That's
is at.
all. I mean,
Uh,
all right.
next scene.
Well, that's what they called funny in '88.
Yeah, I got to think about it in '88, like I did the movie. Right?
Yeah, put your mind in '88, dude. You're gonna
I
goose
gotta
a
go
girl.
back to '88.
You should
Yeah.
goose a girl in
do
the,
it.
in
Here.
the
Here.
pool
I
hall.
think my uncle was touching me in '88.
Oh, definitely does.
Dude, take a bump. Take a bump. There you
That's
go.
right. We should have definitely all done
All right.
cocaine.
80s.
instead of
80s
just
go.
me.
80s go.
So what else-
We'd be talking over each other way more if we were all on cocaine.
True.
What else?
So where are we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We missed the.
That's the thing with this movie. It's so unhinged. It's hard to remember like the order of things.
Haig, you're older than us.
The '96er happens, right?
Do
Yeah,
you
that's a
have you
little
ever bear dump?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Is that a real thing?
That's a real thing.
That was, yeah.
They used to have those.
Oh, I
Yeah.
forget
You would
Jake's
go
old, too.
just like it was in the movie. Yeah.
So they just go
That's
dump
what happens.
trash
That's
out.
the next scene.
It's coming up. The next scene is them in the pool hall, but right before that, when he's talking to
Oh, yeah.
Wally, he asks him, "How's the bear dump situation?" And I was just like, "What the fuck?"
Oh,
is
we
it?"
got-
And then I obviously
We
it
got
is
a good
it is-
one.
we got a good one. It also lightens the
Oh, we
mood
got a
right
good
there,
one.
knowing that the dude's dead in the
right.
corner. But
Oh, the bear dump will cheer everybody up.
No, the next scene is they're in the pool hall and he accidentally gooses the girl. What's her name? Cammy.
Yeah.
Accidentally,
Cammy.
which is a full
Cammy.
blown like full blown goose. Got her right in the pool cue, if you know what I'm saying.
He
Yeah.
liked it.
But then, yeah, right
Yeah,
after that, there because he leaves to chase her because she gets all pissed off. He leaves to chase her, and the kid's like, "What about the bear dump?" Which I don't know why that just made me laugh. What about the bear dump? Like I'm gonna be saying that a lot for some. I'm gonna be quoting that for some reason. Somebody not gonna do what I want to do. Like, well, what about the bear dump? Then they go to the bear
Yeah,
dump,
what-
which
what a
Then we
thing.
go to the bear dump.
is
Yeah.
what it sounds.
Yeah. And then he's
Has-
like, you know what? And he gets a couple of Zag nuts, throws him at the bear. Next thing you know, boom.
Has anyone
comedy
ever been to a
ensues.
bear dump?
I've
I never even
been.
heard of it.
No,
Never been.
Oh man, I was really hoping one of you guys was like, yeah, in Detroit,
No.
we used to go and watch them every other Thursday.
I mean we had raccoon dumpsters, not a lot of bears in Detroit, unfortunately. I
Raccoons
think
are like
I mean
little
it's
bears.
something that was real though. I mean they don't do it anymore, but I think it stopped in probably like the 90s when people started caring about the environment.
I think we should bring that
Like-
back.
Bear dumps.
Yeah, why not?
I
We just-
mean, trash
gotta
isn't
watch
really
what you feed 'em.
good to feed animals.
Don't feed them trash.
Lot of-
Feed them food.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess organic bear dumps.
I don't think that
Organic
was the
bear
problem
dumps.
that
Yeah.
they stopped doing
Yeah.
that. If I was to guess, I'd think it was the bear attacks and not.
I think it was
the
but
safety
it
of
was
the bears.
Yeah.
Safety was probably one, but it was also like hurting the bears.
I
Supposedly.
bet people were getting
mean,
eaten.
Definitely, but I mean, yes, there were definitely bear attacks. It was
One
both. It was twofold.
situations.
We gotta
I
see.
think bears getting sick probably wasn't a big deal to them, but then once people started getting attacked, they're like, "All right, now we got to do it." And you're probably right,
I'm scared of bears. That Bart the bear.
I wish I had a Bart the Bear.
big guy.
He was in the movie The Bear. No, he was in the movie The Edge with Alec Baldwin and
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the bear.
Is that the one where he
then-
murdered the camera operator? I'm sorry.
That was.
Have you
that
never
was a
seen The
different-
Edge, Anthony? You would dig that movie.
The Edge,
Edge
yeah,
is-
that's
it's
with
good.
Emilio
Edge is
and the girl,
Yeah.
the ice skater. She's an ice skater.
No, no.
You're-
Anthony
You're
Hopkins
thinking of,
plays like a philanthropist, like a rich guy, and Alec Baldwin plays a guy who's trying to kill him, and they get into a plane accident, like a little prop plane in the middle of the fucking wilderness, and they gotta survive together, and like a bear starts like chasing them and shit. And Anthony Hopkins is like a really good like survival guy because he reads a lot, and he's like super rich, so he can do whatever he wants. So he's always like camping and shit. And Alec Baldwin's like the nonchalant asshole, and they gotta like
He's
survive,
the bear.
and shit goes crazy. It's pretty good. It's like 1998. It's pretty good.
So it's
Yeah.
not the one where
They
Emilio
advertised
Estevez
it
was a
as,
hockey player and he had to learn how to figure
No.
skate to win the gold championship.
No, I've never seen that one.
Was that the Mighty Ducks? No. Was that
It might
the
not be.
Cutting
The,
Edge?
cu-
Is
the
that what you're
cutting
talking about?
edge. The cutting edge.
That's it.
Solid flick.
Oh,
Topic.
jeez.
You remember the cutting
I've
edge
never
now,
even
don't
heard
you?
of that. No,
I remember
Very
that.
vaguely.
Yeah.
Very vaguely.
I would love to watch
I don't think
that.
I've seen it.
you had
I don't remember
you had
that being a
Emilio
thing.
Estevez in
Is
ice
it
skating.
Emilio Estevez?
I don't think so.
I don't think it is. I think I'm
Uh,
conflating another ice skating movie with that
I
one.
think it was John Candy. I think.
You're thinking of Cool Runnings.
That's
The,
right, that's right.
Ah, that's ice skating sleds.
Bobsledding.
Ice skating sleds.
Ice skates. I think it's called ice skating sleds.
DB
Ice skating
Sweeney.
sleds. I don't think that's called. The next event, ice skating sleds.
So after what? So after the bear dump, they go to, is that when they do the leeches or no?
Oh my god, I laughed so hard at the leeches when they woke up. I was like, why? First of all, why are they sleeping? And second of all,
Dude, this
it
is-
was hilarious. I thought when they woke up like that. I really thought
This
that was funny.
this was one of the what the fuck moments for me because they even had
Yeah.
that shot that was like a really like
bad background.
strange
Yeah.
background.
It
It was
was
like
Raj.
we're just gonna
Studio.
do a voiceover because we forgot to shoot this scene, so we're just
Paramount Law.
Not only that, dude,
Yeah.
the background was not
Yeah.
only poorly lit. You can see the seam directly in the middle
Yeah.
of the curtain,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
wrinkled on the right side. It was just all wrinkled up, like
Yes.
someone couldn't just
Yes.
tighten it a little bit. It was real bad. I don't think that's what this movie.
They
Was
just
about.
couldn't do a reshoot, but like whatever.
No, John Candy had died.
It's
by then.
crazy.
And then they just woke up covered in leeches. Which
that was
why
funny.
why were they sleeping like that?
I
That
know.
didn't make sense to me. That was a strange.
And then why are they waking up like
weird.
this? Oh, 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 oh,
It was dumb, but it was funny.
oh. Stand by Me or The Great Outdoors? Who did the leech scene better?
Stand by Me is pretty.
It's so
pretty good.
fucked up. That movie fucking. I still think about that scene when people talk about leeches.
Yeah.
Stand by Me.
I see leeches.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he
It
had
like
one hanging
scarred
from
me.
his ball bag, dude.
Yeah. This movie had no, that scene had no real effect on me other than, what the fuck? Why were they sleeping? Just confusion.
That is not, when you look this movie up, that is not a scene that comes up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But then then at one point they all,
inconsequential.
right, and no big story point of them. It never came back to that.
Should we jump into the old 96er?
Is that where we're at?
I think we're pretty much
Pretty
there.
I
much
think we're
there.
about there. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I
probably
mean,
more shit with the kid and the girl trying to hang out and shit,
Yeah.
and trying to get her attention and stuff
There's
like
a
that.
montage of like they're go-karting, he's golfing, and then they go on
Yeah.
a horseback thing, and that
Yeah,
was
the horse-
that was all that kind of
Oh yeah,
stuff.
I had a question about that. What was he gonna do with that branch? Was he just gonna beat the shit out of the horse with it
He
before
was
it ran
gonna,
away?
he was
Give it
gonna
a little
whip it.
whip.
Yeah.
Ah,
A
okay.
little whip. Yeah,
You,
yeah.
you whip
There's
horses.
a lot of animal questionable
Oh,
things
shut
going on in this movie. Just saying.
Nobody got hurt. Did anybody get hurt
Yeah.
at the
Whipping it.
end?
I mean, they didn't say at the end no animals were harmed.
I mean,
They
John
did.
Candy on
I
a
don't know.
horse. That's a big
Didn't-
guy on a horse.
That's
I
true.
don't know
That's
what they
animal
did to
abuse
those-
right there.
I don't know what they did to those raccoons to make them do what they did, and they're clearly feeding animals trash.
Tell me, can
But whatever.
that horse support a house?
80s, it's 80s humor. Yeah.
Yes. I think
It
they
is
have
humor.
like the father-son boat scene in between here, but that's just kind of it's just another touching scene between them when he gives him
Yeah.
a ring under the moonlight.
Very touching. Yeah, a good father-son moment. You
Yeah.
know.
And then
So then they
and
get
the
to old
horse
96er.
scene, and then the bar scene where he meets the lightning guy, and then
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
and then the
Oh,
bat
again,
scene.
inconsequential. That yeah.
yeah.
You don't like the bat scene? I think that was one of the funniest lines.
That scene's
It
hilarious.
touched
was
me.
funny.
It's been touching you
Yeah.
for 12 years. You never claimed before. That's pretty good. Not you, damn it.
It's
about a
I think the
two-pounder.
fact that he looked like the
Yeah.
Unabomber was pretty funny too. John Candy, that made me laugh pretty hard.
I mean, when he hits him in the face, that
He
that's
looked like the
hilarious.
Unabomber?
I don't know.
Yeah, he had like the pulled up fucking jacket and like the face thing on. He had the sunglasses on and shit.
This was one of the things. This is a scene that was familiar to me, and I thought I remember seeing it. And also, I've experienced this with bats being in houses and even specifically cabins up north.
Oh wow.
I remember that happened
You
to
had
my
to catch one.
actually the end of that story is sad on the first cabin. Then there one was in my basement of my house. No, someone killed it to get it out. It
Oh.
was like up in a corner, and then someone basically just shot it with a BB gun. It was like my uncle or something, or maybe
Oh jeez.
one of like my cousin or something. I don't remember one of those. I don't remember specifically who did it, but it was just
were
like
pissed.
in the cabin and fucking going. I
Is
was
that why you were a
a
vegan?
kid, so it wasn't like I didn't really have much of a reaction to it, other than like I was kind of curious to see it once it was dead as a kid. But yeah,
What did it taste like?
Should have deep fried the wings.
like your mother.
Chicken.
Hey,
beef.
your mother's pussy tastes like
Whoa.
bats because it's a cage.
Yeah, but then we had one then we had one in my basement later.
Actually, a hilarious line. Yeah, whatever, Jake.
Sorry.
Make fun of me.
But no one put on like, funny baskets or
Funny gear.
No, probably
Fucking
because nobody was
oven mitts
filming
and
a
shit.
comedy movie.
Oh,
yeah, we were just like my family of hunters in northern Michigan. We're like, well, we got guns. We could just shoot it down.
And they nailed it
And
with a
that's-
BB
and
gun?
that's-
Was it
and
just
that's why
hanging
I'm
out?
It was like up in like a corner. No, it was like flop, and then it like got up in this corner. Like I think it was like behind something. Like and then like that I think it was my cousin. I think just had like a BB gun and just like put it.
I'd
up
be
to it and-
impressed if someone just
popped it.
nailed it flying around with a BB gun.
Nah, it was like landed and like back in the corner. We couldn't like get it out because it would have been just flying around again. They tried to like get it outside, but
Oh
it
man.
was like a dramatic like, whoa, fuck, how do we get this bat out of here? Kind of like this movie that happened.
I mean, it
but
was pretty
not-
dramatic in
wasn't as funny, but kind of was.
when he slaps it in the end with this fly swatter, I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
What's the fuck?
Well,
is
they,
that gonna do?
and they killed it in this movie too, so I
Is
guess
that-
it did end the same. It
Is that
ended the
presumably
same.
killing it?
I think.
I don't think so.
No?
They,
It was,
they
it
knocked
was
it
knocked out
unconscious.
on the
Oh, they let it go.
Yeah.
Let's hope it was
Sure,
just
yeah.
a-
Let's
Yeah.
say he
Alright,
just
that's cool.
gave it a little thwack, put it in the bag, and took it outside.
Well, that thing's not gonna do much. Yeah, that thing's like.
I thought that was the joke.
But we gotta get some sleep.
Wait, are we there yet?
Yeah.
Either
Do we
way.
we're jumping around. Yeah. Were we
I
at the old
think-
96er scene or were we at the fucking bat scene?
I
We
think
were just at the bat scene.
we're at the bat scene.
Yeah.
Let's
Right,
talk
right,
about
right.
the bat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh.
That
Now
was
we're
the
done with
last
the
line
bat
of the
scene.
bat scene. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now we're gonna move on from the
Bat
bat
scene,
scene.
sorry. Next bit.
Unless you
Cool.
want to talk about some more lovey-dovey teenage summer love.
The worst actor in the world.
I think those are some of the best parts. But
No. Well,
then
You
we
don't
go
know
to
how
90s
local I am
it
is one
is
of the
the
best
96er.
lines of this movie.
I think that
I'll
was a
just
good
say
line.
that.
I think that's a good line.
that
I think if I
was
watched
a good
this
line.
at his
For some
age,
reason,
I would have
it's like-
fallen dead in love with Cassie, Katie,
for
whatever her
sure,
name was.
for
I
sure,
would have
for
fallen-
sure.
Absolute.
Yeah.
I'm in love with her right now. She's fucking gorgeous. She's got some kind of
Oh, I mean,
timeless
like,
quality to her. She looks like
this
she's got
chick
like a Meryl Streep
smoking
quality, but she's
cigarettes,
she's
yeah.
young. She looks gorgeous. Meryl Streep was
Denim hats.
I think she's hot.
rad,
I would
rad
I would have
80s
fallen in
chick.
love.
Who's
That,
red?
I thought of that. You know, when I was putting myself in the shoes of a teenage person watching this movie.
You embraced 88, and you're
I
like,
embraced
yeah.
88. I was born in 88, but I embraced it.
Oh my god.
I was like 3 when this shit came out, so I was
Yeah,
like,
right. You
this
were
chick- this chick's
16 when this
hot.
came out, Jake.
Yes.
Yeah,
You would
let's
have
get to-
been old enough to been like, this chick's hot.
Let's get to the
yeah.
96er. Oh yeah, did you think she was hot?
Yeah.
Did those
Yeah.
have an effect on you, those scenes?
I thought she was a bad actor, but she was definitely hot.
Yeah,
she
me.
didn't she was
Alright.
mysterious.
To be bad. She didn't there was nothing for her to
Mysterious.
do.
She kind of
Just
just the way
mysterious.
she stood
The
around.
way
was-
she
it was like-
stood? You're basing
There's a-
off of
there's
the
a-
way she
there's a
stood?
scene- There's a scene when she's waiting
Body
for him
language.
at the bait shop.
It's
and,
this next
and the
scene, yeah.
lights are blinking, and she's just like the way. It's not her physical standing; it's the face she's making in the shot. I'm just like, why? Why would that be the face you're making? Like, it's not. It looks like you're trying to make a face of like you're. Looks like you're trying.
Looks
It
like
looks
you're
like you're
acting.
reading off the paper.
You think she was
It
really in love
does.
with him?
She
No.
was. She turned.
I
she
wish,
turned a little
I wish I did,
crazy.
Anthony. I wish I did. I do. I do
She
wish
got-
I did.
I think she
Anthony.
did. I'm
Yeah.
in love with her.
Possessive, real quick. Like
I
you're
love
gonna,
her.
you're gonna love me. You're gonna go.
He
home, you're
wooed
gonna
her,
miss
dude.
me,
He
boy.
wooed her. He
Yeah.
tracked her down. She said she basically said fuck off first, and then he found her again at the restaurant, and then she said, all right, you can
Yeah.
track me down, and then he tracked her down. This motherfucker wooed her. This motherfucker had an agenda. This motherfucker wanted some loving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
think these
he
are
did a good
also
job.
relatable scenes to
I
say
would've been
something. I think everyone like wanted to have that like
Yeah.
summer love, or like you had one at some point, whatever. Like I think these are relatable
I
moments.
think I
in the
kissed a
film,
girl
so
on
those
you. That's
are.
why
It's
I liked
effective.
it.
Yeah, Michigan
go.
things.
Yeah, kissing
Yeah.
girls on docks, dude.
Why not?
Fishing and kissing. That's what we do.
Kissing and kissing and fucking your cousins.
Like second cousin, not a big deal.
You up the some Paul Bunyan Steakhouse. Yeah.
Yeah, cool place. I like the cook. He was cool.
That guy was 7'4",
The
by
guy's
the
a
way.
bad actor.
He was,
Was that
amazing.
was that Bruiser Brody, the wrestler?
Was it?
no, his name was John
Looked like
Broom.
Okay.
John
He apparently-
Bruiser,
Random cuts to him of just
Andy
standing over him.
Prosky.
Apparently that guy is noted as being the tallest guy who ever played Frankenstein. Apparently,
This guy, the cook.
yeah, that chef that comes out, he's not
Hmm.
done yet. Yeah, that guy. You look at Aykroyd looking at him like this, and you're like,
Yeah.
dude, this guy's a mountain man. Yeah. It's 6 pounds of
6
of meat.
pounds. Yeah, 6 pounds.
That's too much meat, man.
It's gross.
6 pound steak. I don't know. Has anyone eaten anything close? Like I've heard people eating tomahawks. What is that? A 48 ouncer?
Yeah,
I feel like I could eat
I've eaten
6
half of
pounds
that.
of something, though. I don't know if it's steak, though. I don't know how that really like sits.
Right.
In me.
I think
But,
if
Like I could eat 6 pounds of pizza, probably. Like
Sure.
I think if I
Doesn't
was
seem
really,
crazy.
really hungry, I could eat a 90. If I didn't have to eat anything else, I could eat a 96er. I could probably get
the
close.
funniest thing was he's like, his wife orders a bucket of salad, and he's like, "Oh, I'll split that with you." And then goes to proceed to inquire about the 96-ounce steak.
Oh, I'll split
My
that with you.
favorite-
She goes, oh, good, that'll help. But
favorite
the scene
scene.
that's opening, or the opening line in that scene is, oh, I'll take a bucket of salad.
yeah,
I'll take a
bucket of
salad.
salad. Like what? That's just the place you are. Okay,
Oh
but that's what they have in Wisconsin.
Also,
Buckets of salad.
I mean, I don't know what there is to say. He has a 96-ounce steak that he's got to eat, and if he eats, Dan Aykroyd finds out that if he eats it, everyone will eat for free. So it's
Yeah.
his now. It is his goal to make him eat this whole thing, and I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
The scene was really pointing towards, especially like the 8th, 9th time I saw it. I was like, man, he's really pushing this eating scene, especially at the end when he's like, no problem, I'll get it down, and he does.
And then also
Yeah.
like if I get a dessert in them, are you gonna throw in some Paul Bunyan hats?
Yeah.
These are the
And then they
kids.
all leave with Paul Bunyan hats.
And they all have Paul Bunyan hats on.
implying
My
that-
favorite part of
He
that,
finished it.
it's another one of those just throwaway lines. It's even off screen because you see people like betting during while he's eating. You see people
Yeah.
like pull wallets out, and the chef comes
didn't-
out. The chef comes out and he's like, you that's not it. He's like, there's just gristle and fat on that. And he looks at it, and then immediately you just hear someone in the background goes, double the bet. That made me laugh pretty hard.
And
They're gonna tell their grandkids about this.
and also
I remember that. Yeah.
there's the dramatic through line of this is that Buck has to meet the girl,
Yeah.
or else she'll,
Yeah, that's
she'll
her at the
never
bait,
talk to
it's
him
her
again.
at the bait place.
Well,
The
it
Why
music
didn't you
is-
just leave?
I know,
Why
that's
didn't you
what I
just
was
leave?
wondering. Yeah, why doesn't he? I mean,
I was like, why does this guy just go? You don't have to
Because
watch
he's
him.
too
family.
far. He's
I guess you're
with
right.
them.
I would be. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Maybe he's got to pitch in if he doesn't finish.
Yeah.
And this is the good part about these old movies because they don't have cell phones, so he just can't just like text the
Oh
girl.
my
like,
God.
you know,
15 minutes
Yeah.
late.
yeah,
I don't
like,
think that would've been a good
I think
excuse.
that adds a lot of that takes away so much drama these days. Is these dang old cell phones and technology, the world's changing. Goddamn, it sucks.
Yeah. Imagine if he had a phone there. That would have changed the scene. Yeah.
But luckily, it made it
Yeah.
so much more
Sorry, my
dramatic.
fat
and so
fucking
much
dad
better.
is eating a giant steak right now, and I got.
I'm gonna be late.
You want to meet me?
My
You wanna
dad
meet
is
me at
John
Paul-
Candy.
You want to meet me at the fucking giant ox outside? I'll finger you.
All right,
in
so
the
96er, he does it. It's pretty
96
funny.
Does it? They come back home. The raccoons have ransacked the kitchen.
Yeah, he throws up.
Check out the maggots on that on the meat. So the crazy part about that scene I read, and you could see it when they all run into the bathroom to chase John, to go after John Candy. You see Dan Aykroyd. He's the last guy to go into that like hallway in the shade, and you see him kind of go 1, 2,
Yeah.
3, and then they
Yeah.
all run out. He had he actually like counted for the rest of the cast so they could run out at,
And it's
at the-
clear
at
as
the
day
same
too.
time.
Like I feel like
Yeah.
maybe because he at his angle he probably didn't quite see the whole lens. It probably looked like the lens was covered because it did kind of go behind the wall, but you could clearly see him go 1, 2, 3, and then they all run
And
out.
then yeah, pretty wild.
I didn't notice that either.
I
Yeah.
noticed that. I want to see that now. It's the part. So it's when they get back from the
Yeah, when
96er
what
scene?
part is
Okay.
Yeah.
that?
Right,
the
right when he's about to throw up.
Yeah, he's like,
That's when
look
he
at the
throws up.
maggots
the
on that
maggots. Yeah,
meat.
okay. The
Yeah.
the rag
they
the
all
raccoon
go, yeah,
the raccoon aftermath scene.
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then after that they do,
And then it's the
Is that-
leeches actually. Then is the leech
and then the
part.
leeches after that. Yeah, true.
All the
And then
while
after
like
that, there's like
he's trying to call the
Yeah.
girl, which you guys don't like that part. But then, yeah, sorry. What I think it's just the big fight comes next, doesn't it?
and then the fight. There, he's trying to heat the flu, and he's doing it wrong. And next thing you know, it's like, okay, all the stuff's just bubbling up apparently, and nobody's
ju-
wanted,
with
you know,
just
they're not
that-
wanted there, and they stick it.
Part of starting a fire, that though, I think that again, I think Aykroyd overdid it to the nth degree. It rings with me true that people are everyone's got an opinion on how you need to light a fire, especially if you're the one lighting it. Oh, don't I've literally heard people say you're not supposed to do that.
Oh my God,
What he
yeah.
said, no, you got to roll the paper, put it underneath. Like there's only one fucking way of making a fire, and it's their fucking way. And I've had that experience many times to the point where I'm not starting a fire unless I got a fucking matches, or a lighter. I'm fucking I'm out. You start it. You start it if you want to put your opinion in there so much.
That's true, and that's pretty on point with his character too.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
he's that guy that threw it through,
That one upper.
that one upper.
But he's not going to do it.
And-
Even in the bat scene, he's
And he's not gonna do
talking
it.
shit, and he's not going to be the one to
Mhm.
go in. He's just like, oh, you're not going to. Oh, he's wimping out now. I'll do it, and knowing full
Yeah,
well
totally.
he's not going to have to. He's just got to coax his brother, which I could see. I mean, I could see why. At first I thought they were the brothers, and I could see that
Mhm.
because of their rivalry. But yeah,
He's the brother, their brother-in-laws. Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, the
Wild.
bubbling begins here, or is
I thought
coming to the
this
surface.
scene was great. Yeah, I thought this was a great scene. And I thought it like as soon as they walk upstairs and like the dynamic with like the kids, you know, might as well blow everyone out your ass, like all that's
These
great.
fun.
These
Yeah.
are very
And,
funny.
like, Candy. What it means is, you know, yeah, all that stuff was like real family stuff. It was good. It was good.
It got heavy. It got deep.
Yeah.
They were in the all the while Annette Bening just in the corner, kind of like, yes, this is wonderful. Like
Yeah.
she was killing it in this scene. She's just kind of laughing every time it cut away to her. I was laughing with her. She
Yeah, she
reminded
was
me
great.
of what was that movie we just watched? U-Turn. The
yeah.
TNT's girlfriend. She's
Yeah,
just kind
Claire
of there
Danes.
to start a yeah, it was Claire Danes just there, and every time her boyfriend started a fight, she was just like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything comes to a head, and they oh well, this is where this is where he kind of lies to her or tells his fib about his wedding
At
night,
the
right?
wedding. Yeah, at the wedding night, he's trying to solicit him for investment. He's trying to coax him into kind of like giving him this money, but telling him this like so sob story, about this wedding, this nothing, and it never even happened. You know,
Yeah. Well,
Pretty full
it's
move.
a
Yeah.
fucked up thing. The whole time he's trying
Yeah.
to get this money from him, but he's not to him or to him to John Candy, it's like, listen, I'm doing you a favor here. Like I'm giving you the ground floor investment here. I want to help you out. And then when he tells him this story, he's like, "You know what? I don't even want that fucking money anymore." He's like, "I was just coming to help you, but because of all this." And then he said that story, and then they storm out. And then yeah, when the Annette Bening in her just obliviousness driving away, isn't she
Yeah,
like
she's like,
everything went great
She
or something, right? Because he writes him a
she
check.
was like, it's so nice of you to get involved in these investments so that he can make money and that
Yeah.
he trusts you with his finances and shit. He's
Because
like,
he
that's probably
guilted
the
him
kid's
into it. He
college
guilted
money.
him in, and he actually
Yeah.
wrote the check.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
gave him like
Yeah.
$10,000, and Annette Benning's
Yeah.
just so, which also showed that Annette Benning. I mean, it's obvious later, but she's just she's just dumb broad. She's just kind of around, and the whole conversation of
yeah,
oh, it's so hard being rich like that. I thought that was kind of a fun conversation to have. I thought those
Yeah,
two
that was
were
cool.
really good. Those
Yeah.
two were really good together.
Well, now knowing that they were
yeah.
the real sisters is cool. Oh, you mean Dan Aykroyd and Annette Bening, or Annette Bening and the
No,
other
the girls,
woman?
the girls. I think they were
Yeah, yeah.
they I
Well,
think
now knowing that they were the
good
sisters,
together,
yeah.
and I think they both are really good actors.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like, it's a real testament to the strength of this family that he wrote you that check,
Yeah.
after all that stuff. And like Aykroyd's like, dude, yeah, no, I should probably turn around.
And he was about to give him the rest of it on Monday. He was about to give him another 15 grand.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And just the fact that she thought everything ended well. That I think that was funny to me too. She was just like, that went well, everything.
That was fine.
She's
It's
like, it doesn't
crazy
matter how much we hate each other, we can all end like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it gave him a second thought about fucking his brother over.
Yeah, turns
And
the
it's
car
wild
around.
that she had no idea that this was happening at all. I mean,
She had no
for any
idea she had
reason.
fake Rolexes on.
Yeah, she had no clue. And then he just blindsided, he just let loose. That was wild. And then, then they come back and their kids just run off into the woods.
Yeah.
That was weird.
You know.
That was
Again,
weird.
That's
in the middle of
forced
a
dad
middle
out.
of
thing.
a-
It's the order here is like weird to me. It seems like they should have like flip flopped to me. Like the them coming back should have been like the end of the movie instead of like now they're back and everything's cool, but let's have another crazy weird scene in the woods. Like it felt like it just the momentum was like shifted back in like a weird direction.
What do you mean? What was the weird what
Like,
was
it
the
felt like
weird
it was, like,
scene after?
Like
The bear scene?
the bear scene and like them getting lost in
Yeah.
the woods. Like seems like that should have happened before the other part. Like them like leaving and then coming back. That it just felt like a strange order to me.
Look,
Yeah.
it went like
I do wish you
Yeah.
edited this movie, Jake.
John
You
Hughes
know what?
was in the room.
Let's look up the
Could've been
fucking
better.
editor of this movie.
Well, like
talk
There were
shit.
3 editors on this movie.
Oh,
and I
boy.
know there's like,
There's a-
and
there's
I
a
think there was
problem.
a lot of like I said before. There was from what I've seen, there's a lot of stuff that was like changed during production because there was like weird shit written that they couldn't pull off, and then there was like scenes that were shot that just didn't make the cut, just of like random other like water sports bits and things like that.
I'm sure there was a lot of
Yeah.
like improvised shit that got cut out too. That John Candy seems like, and Dan Aykroyd seem like the kind of people that do that. Robin
let's
Williams.
try
style.
this. Let's try this, and then like they might have just tried goofs and stuff. Might have made it stuff probably to make it.
Yeah.
It's just what that probably again added to like it feeling like a very disjointed kind of film to me.
They both came from the sketch comedy backgrounds.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that
right.
was-
Second City.
Aykroyd SNL guys. Yeah.
Well, yeah, even before that, he was the Second City guy from Chicago, and then they got to SNL, and then I mean, Candy was from Canada.
Canada.
He was SCTV with
SCTV, yeah.
Martin Short and Catherine
Second
O'Hara, all those
City
guys. Yeah,
TV.
Second
Eugene
City.
Levy was the man, dude. I love that
He
guy.
was there, yeah.
And Rick
Yeah, so-
Moranis, right? Wasn't he
No.
part of that?
Oh no, yes, he was. Pardon me.
Yeah,
Yes, he
I
was.
think he was.
Big part of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, big in what he accomplished, small in stature.
true.
John
True,
Candy
true.
was the big part.
Little Giants.
Little
John
Giants was
Candy, oh man, he's so fucking big in these movies.
Yeah, he's a tour de force in many ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then
Imagine
they
just
have-
like the momentum of him walking a steady pace, go through a brick wall. Dude.
That one moment where he's like having to be talked off a ledge by his wife about like, oh, Roman, I can't take this guy anymore, and he's
Yeah.
like packing up, and like
She starts
he's like, you know
tickling
what,
him.
you're right, you're right. She starts tickling him, and then he grabbed, and then it's like he kind of like, why? He starts like kind of fake choking her a little bit, and he does this thing, and I think it was like a little homage look for Andre the Giant because he does this like Andre the Giant like whenever Andre the Giant used to like choke somebody, he used to do this like wide-eyed like, oh my God. And I think it was a direct reference to that.
Nice.
I
I
wonder
could
if
be
they used
wrong,
to
but it was
hang
like,
out.
can you imagine? That'd be amazing.
So much beer being drunk.
John Kane's like, this is my only chance to feel small, so I'm gonna hang out with this guy.
Yeah, my goodness.
So
yeah, they
yeah, what happens next here? There's
then the
a
bear comes-
sweet cave scene.
the cave. Yeah, we talked about, yes. Dan Aykroyd's character was like hesitant about going in there, and Kenny's like, dude, these are your kids.
Yeah.
Like, man up and like go get your kids. I'm gonna go get some rope.
And it's
Scared by
pouring.
sweet back.
They're trapped in there, I guess, because it's pouring rain and the water's rising, and because they were in there before. It's kind of introduced before with Wally, and he brings them back, and he's like, "Your kids are fucking yelling in the hellhole."
I'm not gonna tell you what the teenagers do.
Goofing around in the mine hole.
But if you come by my house, I got a couple of VCR tapes with a couple of videos on them to show you what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Might give you a demonstration if you're lucky.
Do you think Wally was a pedophile?
No.
Okay, I'm just checking. I was just checking. It was never said.
no,
So
yeah.
He had Juanita, dude.
Yeah,
Wally and Juanita,
was,
dude.
You know what's wild? That scene where Buck calls the restaurant and is asking for what's her name, and the chef that picks up, that was actually Robert Prosky's son, who's Schwartz. We met on the set a couple years ago. Same guy.
Which set was that?
Killing Mary Sue. He was the German guy. Remember the guy who played the German guy? That scene in the office there. Were you there for that?
I mean,
It was Robert Prosky's son was on set. That was him. That was doing that, and that was the kid. That was the guy. I was gonna wear this shirt too that day. I
that's
never did.
hilarious.
But I went up to him. I was like, I'm a huge fan. And
Andy
like,
Prosky.
you did great. Yes, yeah.
That's who I thought.
I love the way
that's what
you answered the phone in great outdoors.
You were great. You were great. You were great. Anyway, yeah. So what?
This is the scene where I guess this is the scene.
It's like a climax scene.
It's a climax
right?
scene, but it's like the second climax scene, like Jake was saying. It's the we had the scene that shows Dan Aykroyd's turn of character, which was that last scene, and then I guess this is the climax scene. Most movies would do that in one scene, which is cool, but this one doesn't too. So they're at the cave. John Candy clearly is not going to go in because there's no getting his fat ass back out. So he's like, "You got to go in. If you don't do it, you're a scumbag. These are your kids. Who's going to carry the boat?" So he goes down there. And then he runs away to get a rope. Is it right?
He runs away, get a rope. He comes back, and I was always wondering why they never cross paths.
That's right. Yeah, because he pulls these kids out. He does the big heroic save, pulls the kids out of the cave.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
Then
"Come on,
they
your
go
mother's
back.
worried."
I would have thought they would have.
Are there
crossed
separate paths?
But they never did. Yeah, there must be.
Did he go up? You go down?
Because they must have. Because when Candy gets there, you could chalk it off to being just rainy. But I mean, he gets there, then Bart the bear starts messing with Candy.
Biggest loophole of the movie.
It's one of them. Yeah, it's one of them. Yeah. Then he starts pulling up the bear, and he's like, "Oh my God, it's the bald-headed bear!" Boom, and the bear starts. I've heard you can't outrun a bear. I heard that's impossible.
He's very close
Tell you
the
one thing.
entire time
He ain't gonna
That's
outrun
right.
a bear
until
He is a bear, right, Jake? Is
true.
that what a bear is? You would know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't outrun a bear. Yeah. But anyway, he did.
Well, yeah,
And then-
not a brown bear. If we're getting technical, you're supposed to play dead for brown bears. I think you could
Okay, fair
outrun a
enough.
black bear, or you're supposed to like try to scare it off.
You heard there's a rhyme. Do you want to hear the rhyme?
Yes.
Oh, let me guess the rhyme. No, that's
if it's
racist.
if it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back.
Oh, that's
So basically,
racist.
like play dead if it's like a brown bear, but if it's a black bear, like try to scare it. So if it's black, fight back. Brown, lie down.
All right,
What about if it's a grizzly?
those are brown.
Grizzly. Those are
Oh,
brown.
those are brown. Oh, okay,
Yeah, those
got
are brown,
it.
yeah.
Copy that.
Yeah, you're
If
fucked.
a,
Basically,
If a grizzly, you're fucked. Yeah. Basically, if it's a brown bear, try to play dead and hope it goes away because if you have an interaction with that bear, you're dead.
Yeah.
Have you
What
seen
about
The
a
Revenant?
what about a
Yeah.
white? What about a polar bear? I think polar bear.
Also,
You're just
fucked.
fucked.
You're just
Yeah.
you're just super fucked. You're
No
just
matter
you
what.
shouldn't. You're probably already fucked because you shouldn't even be there.
If you're
And
close enough
then
True.
close
to
enough,
see a
like,
polar bear, you're already done.
yeah, it's already coming
Yeah.
at you and you're done. Like, because those things are fucking starving and fast and
How
huge.
fast does a polar bear run? Jake, tell me that. You're a freaking.
How fast does a
you're
polar bear
vegan,
run?
You're tofu. How fast does a polar
Is
bear
that-
run?
is
Cheetah
that-
speed,
I believe
30
25
knots.
to 30 miles per hour.
Fair enough. So this is
That's
the
my
end.
guess.
Cheetah speed. Yeah.
Ludicrous speed.
So yeah, Candy runs in. He's out of breath. Everyone's like, "Hey, where you been?" Everyone's like showered and like redressed and
Yeah. How
comfortable.
long there?
He's been gone for years, and he all of a sudden the door he gets knocked over. The bear jumps on him, and apparently if the wide shot you see like it's actually the trainer underneath the door as opposed to Candy in the wide.
Oh, for sure. It's definitely
Yeah.
a person though.
Yeah, it's
I was
actually
thinking
it's his trainer. Yeah,
I guess I knew it wasn't John Candy, but in my head I was like, man, that John Candy's really getting fucked. Like whoever's under there is really getting
He's
fucked
getting-
up.
he's getting Apparently that's the bear's trainer. But yeah, he's like even skinnier. He's got different hair. It's like you could definitely tell it's not even Candy.
For
But,
sure. I mean, if it was John Candy
yeah.
underneath that door, the door would be 4 feet in the air.
That's
Like
true.
I'm not even joking. That dude's probably 4
Yeah,
feet in
yeah.
4. He's probably got a 4-foot diameter, dude. What size do you think
Thick
his
boy.
pants are? I wear 38s. He's got to be fucking in the hundreds.
48.
38.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I got.
So yeah, he comes in, freaking out everyone. They're throwing bread at him. The look when the bear stands up, and the look on Aykroyd's face when it goes like full like just that's hilarious.
Aykroyd's got some dumb looks.
Aykroyd gives a really funny look there. It's really like a shocked, crazy dumb look.
His looks during the bat scene, I found were where I was feeling the same way Schwartz felt about old Cassie. I was like, why is he making these faces? Who makes these faces? He just kept going, oh, every time he cut to him. And then a guy comes out, or a guy, John Candy comes out. He's like, oh, it's a 2-pounder. He just goes, oh, and then it goes back to John Candy. He's like, what the fuck are these cutaways for? How much more time do they need to add to these movies to add these cuts?
I don't know. So what happens? So then Prosky shows up with the lamp gun
Yeah,
and he plugs it in.
of course.
And next thing you know, yeah, you have to plug in a lamp gun.
Yeah.
Shoots him, and then we never saw any of that coming, where his ass would be exposed there. Which,
It was a good exposition.
yeah, I don't know how is that a special effect or is that
It's
a
real
makeup?
bear assed.
I gotta think it's makeup.
You think that's makeup?
I
Is
gotta
that like
think
a
it's
is that like a
prosthetic.
thing that they put on the bear?
It almost
Yeah.
looked like
Yeah.
like how they did on the top of the head. That looked weird. It almost looked you had more time to look at that. It looked like it was like glued on, like a fake bald cap with like hair coming
Okay,
out
yeah.
and then like glued onto its head is kind of what it looked like to me.
This
So I'm
bear
like,
is very
they
famous.
shaved
very,
the bear and then it looked all fucked up. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that had to have been that. So it's probably the same on the ass. It was probably just some kind of like just put it over the
It's
ass
glued on
yeah. I bet you
or
it's a
strapped on
big
somehow.
strap on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
somehow. Yeah.
And the scream that he has as he's running out of there, it's outrageous. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that was the one time that I was like, man, I hope those aren't real bear screams, and I don't want to know what they were to get them, what they did to get them if they are.
Yeah, like what were those? What were those?
I gotta think it
Like,
was
like
somebody making sounds. I don't know. I'm hoping it was just. Oh, you know what I hope just to be funny. I hope it was a dog that they were beating. No, I'm kidding. I hope it was just a guy making up sounds. You know what I mean? But what I think it was,
I hope so, too.
I think they whipped
Yeah.
the shit out of that bear and they recorded the sounds that it made. That's what I think they did.
I mean, that was a very famous bear, so I don't know if it would be like fucked.
He
with
had
as
a
much as,
manager.
Like, other random animals.
famous bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? Who do you think is doing the whipping, dude? Do you
Like,
think the
how they
manager's a
trained the
bear
bears is
lover?
Probably like, yeah.
I meant it more in the funny way of like he had an agent type of thing. Like he's got representation, you know. That's how I meant it.
Definitely has representation. It's
It's
definitely
representation.
He's represented, dude.
I mean, he was in some bangers such as The Bear, Young Riders, King of Thunder Mountain, White
I mean, come on,
Fang.
dude. That guy's got a manager.
He was the bear in Homeward Bound, An Incredible Journey, one of my favorite dog movies.
God, that's a great movie.
Legends of
He
the
was
Fall.
in the bear, right? He was
12
the bear
Monkeys.
and the bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
His grandson was the bear in The Revenant.
You know,
that is not true.
Really?
that's,
I don't think so.
that's
but-
a CGI bear.
He was
NFL.
also in Homeward Bound 2,
Liar.
Lost in San Francisco.
Nice. His grandson or him?
Last movie was Meet the Deedles. I'm not sure what he's doing now.
How long do bears live?
Yeah, that's
He's-
my
he's been
third
done.
joke of the third and final dead actor joke of the podcast.
Did you ever see a reality competition show called Man versus Bear?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
No.
don't
Our
think it
buddies worked
lasted
on
long. Did they?
Young
That
Allen worked on it.
It was
Hugo
pretty,
worked on it. It was pretty funny.
pretty hilarious from what I saw.
What did they do?
I was curious
Was
if
it
they
like,
were
are
ever,
you smarter than a fifth
any
grader, except it was a
relations?
bear?
No, it would be like
Obstacle course against the bear and
obstacle
shit like
course,
that.
yeah, basically like pulling something
do
against the
that,
bear.
sure.
How long you would like people will last if they're like doing like tug of war with the bear and things like
Yeah,
that.
it's pretty
and, like,
crazy.
outrunning a bear. It's fucking. It was you. The bear won all the time. It was just how long they last, basically.
Was
It
it
was dumb.
hilarious?
But also kind of hilarious. Yeah, it you can find clips on YouTube. I don't know if I even saw full episodes, but it from what I saw it was pretty funny.
Wow.
But I'm just curious if any of those bears are related to Bart the bear. That's where I was going with that.
Yeah, it's his sister.
There's a
Probably
good
not.
chance.
I imagine probably not.
It doesn't run in the family.
You don't think he had lineage? Oh no, he was probably fixed, and that's probably how they got him to do stuff. So yeah.
Apparently,
All right, bummer.
I heard that Billy Crystal went on Letterman one time and talked about Bart the Bear, and they were talking about this like when he got to the Oscars one year, and they told every female in the backstage to kind of steer clear of Bart the Bear if
Oh,
you
no.
were if it was that time for you of
If they were
because-
menstruating, you know why?
Yeah,
He gonna
Well,
try to
'cause-
fuck them.
yeah.
Same reason they don't go you don't go surfing when you're on your
Or-
period.
There you go.
Sharks will try to fuck you.
They're horny sharks.
I mean, that's
All right,
it.
So what happens?
Bart the bear
Let's
did
end
not
it.
have any kids, FYI. I just looked at
Just to clear that up,
Clear
to
that
make
up.
that to make everybody sure. So yeah.
If
so
you're still
he-
listening to this podcast,
he
Also,
comes
other
back-
bear facts to clarify. That is
Yep.
correct. Polar bears do run at 25 miles per hour.
Oh,
Go
so-
on, Schwartz.
They come back and he
I can
tells
run
them
at
he's a
26.
fraud and they end up forgiving each other and then he goes and lives with John Candy's family. He's got to race him home.
He's got to race him home.
Yeah. And then that's it, right?
Yeah. And then
That's
they have a post credit scene of them dancing in the bar. Everyone's dancing and singing.
that's
Yeah,
the,
I
that's
was
the credit
thought
scene.
that that's the credit scene.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
the credit
they have
scene.
a
Then there's a
post-credit scene
post-credit scene.
actually.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, with the raccoons again. But
Oh.
I thought that like that credit scene, I thought like they actually like shot the cast party and like put it in and put it into the film. Like it seemed like it's like
Oh.
I don't know. I mean, that's probably not it.
I almost see that like if they had a rap party, like it would.
If
Probably
they had a
be at
rap
that-
party.
if they would probably be at that bar they shot at.
That's what I'm saying. And it's
Yeah.
like
I
they
can
just
see
set up
that.
the cameras and like they were just because like that scene, unless that was the party that they were gonna go to instead of going to see the oldest man alive.
Right.
Because like Aykroyd's like, I'd rather see a 46-inch bust singing "Burn in Love," Elvis impersonator or whatever. Like that's the party he wanted to go to. But like maybe like that was the party that they shot later on that ended up in the credit scene. I don't know. It's
So
Yeah.
that was a
Because
good line.
story wise, it doesn't make sense. They wouldn't like just go
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
Dan
yeah.
Aykroyd had a couple good lines. That was one of them. And he said, I'd rather see a 35 bust singing
Singing "Burn in Love."
Yeah, singing Burn in
Yeah.
Love. That was a funny line. I'm gonna go show Mr. Big Dick to Mr. Urinal Cake. I think it just caught me so off guard when he said that I was just like, that's just pretty that's
Like
the best,
what a
best line
like
in the movie.
it's like the douchiest thing to say like ever. It's just such.
It really is.
Like per his character, it was just like worked so well, but it was just like holy shit, what a line, what a thing to say.
Yeah.
You think John Hughes wrote that or did Dan Aykroyd said that?
That sounds like a Dan Aykroyd thing to
That's
say.
an Aykroyd ad lib.
Yeah, because it
maybe.
was shitty.
Yeah, he's probably like, all right. And in the script, it's like, excuse yourself to go to the bathroom, and then it's like, I'm gonna go show everyone my huge dick, or the urinal cake, I should say.
I mean, it's a funny thing to say.
Weirdo.
All right, well, I did just watch the end credits, and it did not say no animals were hurt in the making of this. I'm not sure if this
Damn,
was
so you
before
heard
they
that
had to
horse.
do that. When was Apocalypse Now made? Because certainly after that is when they really cracked down on that.
79.
I mean, there was bear dumps probably. There were like probably real bear dumps. So I don't know. Fuck. I'm
When
sure,
did they start
you know,
saying that at the end of movies?
some animal. I don't know actually.
Good question.
Tell you
Very
what,
good
a bunch of animals got hurt in this movie for sure. Too many animals not to get hurt.
It says that in the credits.
That's what it says. Sorry, tofus. Too many animals not to get hurt.
Didn't keep track of the number of animals. There were a lot. Go after yourself.
Good pick, Haig.
Thank you.